We're back.
All right, here we go. We're gaining. We're getting back on track.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Look, we've got a lot of people coming in now, so we'll give them one more minute. But if you're here for Ignite, spark your career and get started, then you're in the right place. And can you guys hear me okay? If you can't, I can put my headset on.
Yes.
I can hear you.
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'll have it on standby in case we need it. Phone off. Okay. So we are here for Ignite. My name is Susan Kenyon. I am with the 463 Market Center up in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. I practice out of Southern New Hampshire and Southern Maine. I've been in real estate since 2013. And I come from the perspective of production. So every teacher that you have during Ignite is going to have a little bit of a different flavor behind them. But mine is always coming from the perspective of production and making money and helping people. And that's really what I love to do. So that's the perspective that I come from. I work with my husband, who also is in real estate since 2009. So if you guys are out there wondering if you can support your household on 100% commission, I'm here to tell you that yes, you can. And how you do it is by starting. And today's a good start for that. But I am joined by Tim and Robert from the Portsmouth Market Centers, if you want to introduce yourselves.
Robert, go ahead.
Hi.
You talk a little about yourself.
Well, first of all, I know a bunch of people in the room here. Hello, everybody that I know. How are you? And if I don't know you, I am the Market Center Technical Trainer at 463, which is the Portsmouth Market Center, which is for everybody here. That's where we're all from. So me, Tim, and Susan, we're all from that area here. We got a bunch of people from our market center, so welcome. For those of you outside the market center, the market center technical trainer is your tech person at your market center, and they're your first line of defense. They're a tier 1 support. They're also your training resource. If you don't know who your market center technical trainer is, make every effort to find out who that is, because they are going to be your best friend. They're going to be able to answer your questions and get you through to support when support may not be easy to reach. So definitely get to know your market center technical trainer and find out what kind of classes they have available, because that's what we do. So welcome, everyone.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Tim Lindsay. I'm the productivity coach with 463, and we have agents for referral basis, by the way. We have agents that serve Massachusetts, usually like Boston to the North Shore. We're all over New Hampshire, all the way up to North Conway. We're in Southern Maine predominantly. We also have an agent who's on the Antigonish border. So if you need some help in Canada, we can do that too. And we just got our license to sell real estate in Vermont as well, because we've got some agents in Western New Hampshire that serve over there. So we currently serve 4 states, and we're excited to be here. You guys are in great hands. We just had our Market Center Awards on Thursday night, and we voted Susan Kenyon. We could do this every year, but we finally decided to just officially do it. Susan Kenyon is our MVP. For our market center. Phenomenal trainer. You guys are going to enjoy the class. She's a rock star. She gave her husband John too much credit for bringing up his name at all. He outkicked his coverage. She's way better than he is. And we're actually teaching this class. I'll brag on you, kiddo. We're teaching this class because she had to move. We would normally teach session 6 in elementals, but we had to move it to this session because she's going on vacation. So she's supporting a household.
Yeah.
And they've raised their kids and they're planning a vacation. So can you be awesome and still take time off and go celebrate your wins? Absolutely. And that's why we're here today. So it's a pleasure to be here. If you guys need anything, shoot us a message in the chat. And we just asked that if you do have questions down in the reactions, if you hit that button, there's a raised hand that'll push you up to the top left-hand corner with a raised hand. So Susan knows to call on you like Robert's doing, but hopefully he doesn't have a question, because maybe he does. Do you have a question? No, he doesn't. He doesn't. Anyway, thrilled to be here with you guys. Welcome aboard. And we're super glad you're here investing in yourself. Plug into this. This is a whatever you put into it, you're going to get out of it. And the most important thing that Susan's going to talk about is the 10-4. It's the activities in between these lessons that are going to build your business for sure. So welcome.
Awesome. Absolutely. And so we're going to just jump right into it. We are here for Ignite. We're kicking things off with Fuel Your Sparks for a Great Career, Fueling Your Career, how to get started. I love participation. I'm going to do my very best to keep my eye on the chat, but it's not my specialty. Tim will help me with that. But feel free to
I'm here
just
too on the chat.
and Rob will help. Robert will help. Thank you. Just jump right in and unmute yourself or raise your digital hand and we'll get to you. But I'm totally into just interrupting me and having something to say. I love it when you can keep your video on. I know that not everybody is in a position if they're at home to do that. But if we can see your faces, it makes it so much more fun for me to teach you today if we have as much video on as we can. So this is an interactive class, and how we participate here is how we participate everywhere. And if you're here because you're new and you're launching your career, awesome, congratulations, you're in the right spot. If you're here because you just want to kind of refuel your career and get take a second go at it and really have a bigger and better year than you did in 2021, then welcome and participate. However we participate here, use our voices, have conversations, will help us when we're out in the marketplace, having conversations with our people. So, definitely congratulations for a few things. Congratulations for picking real estate, because it's an awesome, phenomenal career where we have the ability to impact other people's lives in a very positive way. And congratulations for picking Keller Williams. We are really the best brokerage out there. They pour so much into their agents. I feel fortunate to have always had my career with Keller Williams. So congratulations on picking the best real estate brokerage really on the planet and being here. And congratulations on passing your test and getting your license. That is a huge achievement. And for choosing to start with Ignite and making the commitment to be here from 9 to 12, Monday through Friday, during the rest of the month of March, to really give your career and the money that you're able to bring back to your families the best fighting chance of every possible success. So you've made so many great, awesome decisions right from the beginning. And I do always like to say how you participate in here is how you participate everywhere. Because we're going to talk a lot today about communicating and talking to our people. How do we get our career started? And the activities that we choose to do on a daily basis will ultimately write the script for your life and for your career. So we need to do those things on purpose, and we need to practice them every day. And the activities, when we do them, it's like, what are the activities that we're going to do? How are we going to do them? How frequently are we going to do them? Those are the driving forces between how successful you'll end up being. So we need to have a lot of purpose behind those conversations. How big do you want your business to be? How many people do you want to help? Because that's really what real estate is about. Having a great business with the greatest company and providing service and satisfaction to your people in your market center. So what I love about Ignite is that Keller Williams chose to go out to the most successful agents and ask them, what are you doing to be successful? What are you doing every day to be successful? And that's how they built Ignite. They built this whole course around what successful agents are doing. So if they're successful and they're doing it, why don't we just do the same thing and be successful? We don't need to recreate the wheel. But what's most important about this slide is it says what successful agents do every day. They almost should really bold the everyday part, because the everyday part provides the consistency for what you have to do to continuously have a great business. And that's going to start, it's really broken up into two pieces. It's broken up into growing your business and running your business. And growing your business starts with the number one most important thing to be successful in real estate, and that's lead generation. If you never lead generate, you never get to move over to the right side of the screen where we run our business. Because and this is my disclaimer here. Real estate is a sales job. It's not an HGTV job. It's not a home decorating job. It is a sales job, and sales is it's all about the lead. But lead generation is really about caring about people. It's not a big, scary, like, oh my gosh, I have to lead gen and talk to people. Yep, we do. We have to talk to people, but we talk to people because we care about them. Okay. When we generate leads to improve people's lives, that equals commission. And that really is such a great opportunity because we're lead generating to improve people's lives. That means that we're here to be in relationship with people. Okay? And relationships are the currency of Keller Williams. Okay? Keller Williams and your market center, their relationship is with us, the agents. They do so much to pour into us and provide us with the tools that we need to succeed. And they show us that they care all the time. And we're in relationship as agents to our consumers, to our customers, and to our clients. So if you don't care about people, this is a very hard business to be in. But when you come from caring and you do care about people, this is a fantastic business to be in. Okay? Because the consumer is grading every interaction they have with you every single time. And that's part of the relationship. Your people have to know about you. They have to know that you care. You have to be in relationship with them as part of your lead generation. Because people do business with people that they like. So be someone that people like. I like all of you because you're here and you're willing to participate and do some work that it takes to make your business move forward. So you have to be out there in your market with your people, communicating with them. And that is what lead generation is. And we'll talk more about how to lead generate with more purpose behind it. But it starts with caring about people. And really, how big do you want your business to be? The person who lead generates the more gets more business. So the person who wants to be in more relationships, sitting at more kitchen tables, being at more community events, picking up the phone more, that person who is lead generating more gets the business. Okay. The other thing that we have to do as growing our business is make seller presentations, right? We have to get an appointment. And our goal here for your first 2 weeks during the Spark sessions of Ignite, your goal is to get an appointment within the first 2 weeks. Okay? So that we can make seller presentations and get listings. And then we have to make buyer presentations and get buyer appointments and get those buyer contracts signed. And we have to preview real estate. Okay? If we're going to be in the marketplace and be able to speak to our people about what's happening in the market, then we have to go see it. Have you guys had opportunities to view properties or things like that in your market? How's that going for you? This is the interaction part.
Susan, it's Kai. Good morning. I'm driving, so I'll be on video. I'm almost at my office in New York. But good morning, everybody. I was just gonna raise my hand and speak and interact. But you were talking about doing lead generation and being out and viewing properties in the market. I just left a doctor's appointment on P's at Wentworth Douglas Hospital, and I just made a connection to add to my command and put in my database with the receptionist that checks me out. And I left a stack of my business cards with my primary care physician. So, yeah.
Great job. There you go. Good job. And hey, Corey, thanks for raising your hand.
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. Great.
I'm glad you can hear me. I have like one headphone on.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I've only been in real estate, or actually only been licensed since July 2021. I haven't had any transactions, but I have, done open houses. I've had hosted open houses, and like assistance to other agents, other experienced agents. I've had shown properties. I've had shown apartments. I've shown more apartments than I've had houses. But yeah, so far so good. The experience, like showing people what they could possibly like, and then like interacting with them to get a sense of who they are, so they'll possibly continue working with you in the future, basically building that relationship. So I do have that experience, and I will say it is awesome to have that experience. But other than that, I haven't done anything higher than that. So yeah.
Well, we'll talk more about how you guys can get into some properties too, to start doing more previewing. So, but
Right.
good job. That's a good start, because those people that are in apartments will eventually want to buy a house. So staying in relationship with them is lead generation until they're ready.
Right.
Hey, Alex.
Hey, how's it going? Good morning, everybody. Yeah, so showing houses and previewing houses has been pretty busy if you guys have been out there. Obviously, this is an interesting market. I'm sorry, my dog is whining. But one thing I noticed, especially yesterday, I went to an open house and there was people talking in the driveway, and they were pretty much going through what they were going to offer. And that's kind of a benefit to my buyers, because now I was able to relay to them what they were talking about. Granted, it could have been about a different property, but still, it was interesting to see right in the driveway. And I don't let my clients do that.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. And we're seeing that a lot for sure. So yeah, you know what? It is our job to try to find out what the competition's going to be doing. So absolutely.
Well, Susan, too, to Alex's point, don't forget, guys, there's cameras and microphones everywhere, right? We always talk to our people when they're going into a building. Don't forget, there's an opportunity that there are eyes and ears, and there's a whole nother conversation there. We're serving 6 states. I said it first, Susan. We're serving 6 states. So talk to your local leadership about how the laws are followed in your certain state. But if you're standing just in front of the garage, around the corner, not near the front door, not near the listing agent, and you think they can't hear you, the Russians are listening. Like, everyone's listening. Everybody's listening. So just know that you need to get into a vehicle, back to your office. We can talk about it later. We have the conversation about them keeping their poker face. We just want to keep our mouths shut and keep the conversation to ourselves. Because again, Lamonte's walking by and hearing a full conversation, could have been about another property, but they also don't know who he is. Maybe he's on team list and they're like, oh, we just found out their motivation, their favorite color. So we just got to be better about making sure we educate our people when we go shopping.
Yeah,
for sure. In this day and age.
Yep.
Hi, Susan. This is Ann Scales. I'm going to jump in without raising my hand.
Absolutely.
So I just signed up and literally starting March 1st. So I don't have my CRM set up yet. I have not been to an open house. I do have an interior design background where I've, worked with agents to stage homes. So I have that experience, but I am literally like just on the beginning stages of getting my business up and running. So excited about it, but also nervous as to, how to move forward and how to lead generate. And, I've been a salesperson my whole life, so I'm not really worried about talking to people, but, it's a whole new business for me. So.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations. And really just taking a deep breath and jumping into it is what you kind of have to do. And what's the worst thing that can happen? Someone hangs up on you. That's okay.
The dreaded
Right.
2-letter word, Susan. No. Yeah.
Every no gets you closer to a yes.
Amen.
I mean, we're going to have to get through and park our egos at the door. If they don't want to talk to us, then give them grace, especially in the times that we're living in now. People need grace. Not everyone's going to be in their best mood when you talk to them. That doesn't mean that the next time phone call that they'll react the same. Maybe something's happening in their life that they just have to pass you over until they're ready to receive you. That's fine. Move on to the next one, because our job is to keep flipping those stones over until we find the right one, until we find the person that needs us today, because that person is out there. Hey, Lisa.
Hi, good morning. I just wanted to comment on that. I used to work at MCI. Remember that? Way back in the day. And I started out cold calling, and I was high up, always in the top 10, and I never could get number 1. And this woman, Mona Gatz, I'll never forget, I could not beat that woman. So I actually went and monitored her and listened to what she did. If they said no, okay, thank you for your time. Boom, next call, because it's all in numbers game. So you're not going to talk them into it. Don't spend 15 minutes. Just boom, boom, boom. Numbers, numbers, numbers. The more you call, the better chance you have. And I'm like, okay. And I finally beat her.
Good for you. Good for you, Lisa. And you know, we have to have a goal. So our goal, your goal, is to get an appointment within the first 2 weeks. So write it down somewhere, put it up, write it all over your house if you have to. Put a note on your car. So when you get in your car, you're reminded that that's your goal. You've got to get an appointment. If you want to be sitting at a closing table, you back that up to getting an appointment. There will be no closing tables without appointments. So your goal is to get an appointment, right? And that's what the most successful agents do. And once we grow our business, then we get to do the other half, which is running our business. We get to market the seller listings that we've taken. We get to take buyers out shopping and show them properties. We get to negotiate contracts. We do transaction management to closing, which is awesome, and lots of lead generation opportunities on this side of the house here too. Vendor management, right? We're talking to our vendors, our inspectors, our appraisers, the title companies, the lenders, and we have lead generation opportunities to be getting business out of those folks as well. But those vendor management and relationships are super important. And being the one in control of everything that's happening, you're the boss, you're the one driving the bus. So you have to drive the vendor's interaction during your transaction. And the setting goals. Every day we set goals. And what is your goal?
Get a listing appointment.
Set an appointment. Absolutely. I love that. And make it a listing appointment. A way to raise the bar. Love that.
Yeah.
I thought that's what you had said.
So yeah, really it says get an appointment. So it could be a buyer appointment, it could be a listing appointment, but you know what? Our business is run by listings. So yes, if you heard listing appointment, that's the best option for you. Listings drive our business. And we have compliance and risk management, right? There's a lot of risk, and we're in charge of a lot when we're getting someone through a transaction. And it's our job to make sure that we're compliant within our state regulations, that we're not putting our buyers and sellers at risk. And we attend training and coaching just like you're doing today. And we manage our money. So when you guys get through all of Spark and at the end of Elementals, there is a section on finance, and do not miss it. It's so important that we manage our money, because our families deserve for us to have money in the bank at the end of the year. It's so easy. You know who the easiest person to sell to is? A salesperson. And we're salespeople. I am guilty of that. I really have to practice that. People are going to be calling you for a gazillion subscriptions and sign up for this and put your credit card in and buy this marketing material. It's easy. And before you know it, you're like, you know, the Benjis are like flying out of your hand. But we need to manage our money so that we actually have money to come home to our families at the end of the year. We have to pay taxes out of the commissions that we earn.
The beauty of that, Susan, is you guys are allowed to get paid as much as you want, right? If you left another corporate environment, it was once a month, every other Friday, every other Thursday. You could be at a closing table. Your MCAs are going to love me for this. You could be at a closing table every Wednesday. right? Doesn't need to be Friday, doesn't need to be December 32nd. You can go to a closing table every Wednesday if your activities are serving that. So we know today, we talk about in our market center every day, every morning on our huddle, we talk about the fact that today, write this down and then cry, and then we're going to move on. Today is Sunday, June 5th. We're 90 days out. We'll talk more about that later. And to Susan's point, when it comes to money, a lot of you are realtor rich on Friday and broker broke on Monday because we don't have enough closings coming up because we're not purposeful. And the money that we do earn is earmarked already. And we got to come home with our net and have our taxes. We're going to talk all about that in that session that Susan just talked about. The coolest thing about real estate is we're in charge. It's also the worst part. We have to be business managers. We are running businesses. We're not just realtors. It's for my Massachusetts friends, right? It's making some money, not really sure. I put it under the mattress. Like we're going to make business professionals out of you if it kills us. And it hasn't yet.
Yeah, when we get our license and we start practicing, we are running a small business. So we need to be mindful of our money. So we'll talk more about that as well. But this is our roadmap for today. We're going to start with your sphere, your sphere of influence. Who are the people around you? We're going to talk about knowing what the tools are that we have. We're going to prepare for success. We're going to recap, what things we've talked about today that might resonate with you, and talk about daily success habits. So, and we're going to keep on repeating things like the goal is to have an appointment within 2 weeks. At a minimum, hey, if you guys get an appointment today, don't stop. Then your goal is to get another appointment, right? So when we're lead generating and we're putting that in our calendar, if we get something right out of the gate, keep going. Because remember, the person who lead generates more gets more business. So I would encourage you guys, I'm a big fan of the things that are important to me right now. I write them down. So if it's a sticky note that you have to put up somewhere, if you have to take out some kind of erasable marker on your mirror to write it down, that I will have an appointment within 2 weeks. Okay. And we are going to start with a little welcome from our favorite person, Gary Keller.
Hi, I'm Gary Keller. This course will allow you to get off to a fast start you can build on. Because if you repeated the principles every 90 days for a year, believe me, you have an awesome first year. And just as important, you would have built the foundation and momentum for your entire career. It is practical, realistic, and easy to apply. It's about the fundamentals that determine your level of success in the business of real estate. From our research with top agents, we have found that they too started their careers with these fundamentals, and they continue to do them along with their teams to this very day. And it's not hard. It just requires a little focused effort, a few hours every day. Now, there is really just one way to achieve the goal. It's lead generation. Other skills are important, yet without leads to work with, your skills won't mean a thing. Dealing with business never takes precedence over what? Finding business. Never. Research shows that top producing agents make lead generation their #1 priority and the one thing they make sure they always get done. You can do this. And when you do, you will get the leads, the relationships, the experiences, the career, and the income that you want and deserve. Go get them, and good luck.
Who was hoping Gary wouldn't say lead generation? It's the one thing that we need to do every day. So to Susan's point, it's about getting an appointment, right? And we're going to celebrate it, whether it's a kitchen table with a seller or a conference table with a buyer. The initial activity, the initial goal is to have the conversations. Because I think if Susan asked all of us today, did you, last day that you were in the office, Monday through Friday is when we're on point about doing our lead generation, whether you're at your desk with a headset on, whatever, did you have enough conversations on Friday that you found the person that you're going to lead forward into a transaction?
Yeah.
And if the number on Friday was 0, that's cool. Because we just got to make it, I would say improve on that. Don't make it 1, make it 2, knock yourself out, right? But we also know nationally it's 20 conversations, 19 no's to a yes. 19 no's to a yes. And most people in the country, look at the listing count nationally. Most people in the country are not having enough conversations right now. That's where we're at.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, and this is a great Gary Keller quote, nothing else about your business will have as big an impact on it as the number of leads you have, because it is always about the lead. And, getting people through the process of buying and selling real estate is fun. We love doing that, but it's also finite, right? We get that person to the end of the transaction and it closes. So if you don't have more people to transact with, you have no income. So the lead generation piece, which they will always be telling us is every day, is because the transaction is finite. We need to keep always filling that pipeline with new people, knowing where they are in their life to know when they're likely to transact again, which we'll talk more about during Ignite. Okay? But we're lucky because the best sales in the world solve problems, and we're in real estate. We solve problems. Everybody needs a place to live.
So Susan, I have a question for you.
Yeah,
Ann
hi,
Scales
Jen.
again, sorry.
Yeah.
So I'm in an area that I didn't grow up in. I've been here for just a couple of years, but not a public, salesperson in the area. So what are your suggestions on like networking groups, lead generations? Like, where do I go? Is it Facebook? Is it social media? I know friends of friends, all the people that are like close to me, but are there other like avenues of like networking groups that real estate agents go to?
Yes, and yes.
kind of figured that, but
yes, it's networking. Yes, it's getting out there. I'm going to give you the example of a really fantastic agent in our market center, Melissa Lesniak. She built her business on getting involved in the community. So whether it's a community that you've always lived in or one that you're just joining, find a way to get involved in your community. What we don't want to be is the secret agent. And if we're not getting out into the community, if we're not making phone calls, if we're not letting people know that we're here, if we're not on Facebook and Instagram or whatever your social media platform is, letting people know that we are in real estate, that we are here to serve, that we bring value to every conversation that we have, then we won't have any business. We can't be a secret agent. So
right.
Yes, get involved in your community. Yes, get on social media. Yes, find a way to pick up the phone. Do all of those things until you find what is it that's going to work, that's working for you, and then do more of that and keep trying things until you're having conversations with people. Wear your name tag when you're out and about in the community. Get your hat that says that you're a real, whatever you can do that will spark a conversation, then do more of that.
And I can tell you real quick, Ann, without fail, we have to tell everybody in our life 7 times we're in real estate before they forget. So until you've exhausted your phone, I'm not going to, personally, I don't tell my agents here that they should be running out and spending any money on any lead aggregators, because you run the risk. And here's the example I use that usually makes people understand where I'm coming from. If Ellen Trudell, I'm just going to make up where you live, kiddo, is in Providence, Rhode Island, and she's not going to call our friends at Billow and be like, I'd like some Des Moines, Iowa leads. That doesn't make any sense. But as soon as she tells them to send her phone numbers and leads for Providence, and she gets her mother's phone number, she got everything she deserved, said with love, right? So you're asking for leads from the neighborhood where your face already lives that may already be in your phone. And at that point, I'd tell you to heat up a bag of nickels and just hit yourself in the face till you can't feel feels, because it's the same end game. Like, just stay home at that point, right? So I'm gonna tell you, get into your phone. All of your success is in there. And you said that, friends of friends. More often than not, and I'm not calling Susan today and saying, hey, do you and John want to buy a house today? I probably know where they are if I'm in a conversation with them on a regular basis. I'm finding out from Susan today who she knows that I should know, so I can build my sphere. Like, that's the end game. So until you've honestly exhausted your phone, which is an endless loop, because when I talk to Ellen Trudell today, she's going to give me Susan's number, and I'm on my 4th conversation with Ellen, and now I'm on my 1st conversation with Susan. So hamster wheel real estate, keep running, right? It's endless.
It doesn't have to be complicated. This is a very simple business, guys. It really is. you know, who complicates it is us. We complicate it.
It's
Eric.
wicked hard. We're all brain surgeons. No, we're not. Pick up the phone. Talk to your people. End of story. I think Eric has a question, Susan.
It wasn't so much a question as much as I just wanted to throw a comment out there to build on what you guys are saying. So I'm a brand spanking new agent, just a few days, having signed with Keller, but I've kind of lived on the periphery of real estate for some time, having friends that are developers and agents, et cetera, et cetera. And anyway, one thing that I heard quite some time ago that now is certainly ringing true and foremost in my mind is that, when you're in real estate, everybody should know that you're in real estate. And an example of that is I have a friend that is looking to buy a property. And so I called him up as soon as I knew that I was signing on. I called him up and said, hey, look, I'm going to be an agent in a couple of days. We're going to get you a property. So just know that this is happening. And he said, yeah, it's funny, over the past year or so, I found out that a few of my other friends were agents and they've been agents for a couple of years and I never knew. And the first thing I thought of is that's crazy and you should not go with them for sure because they don't know what they're doing. One thing that an agent told me a long time ago is when you're in real estate, the person that serves you at a restaurant should know you're in real estate. There isn't anybody that you come in contact with that shouldn't know what you do. And that's always kind of stuck with me. Now, like I said, I certainly see the value in that.
Yep. Awesome. Yeah. We can't be secret agents. That's for sure. Lisa, are you all set or is your hand from last time?
I think she's stretching.
Okay. So we'll move on.
It's from last time, sorry.
Oh, no problem. No problem. One of the things, that I have listened to that little video from Gary many, many times, and I still have it on a sticky note at my desk. I'm at my home office now, but at my office is dealing with business never takes a precedence over finding business. And that is the lifeblood of making money for us and transacting with people. The urgent never should overtake the important. We can deal with the urgent, but the most important thing is lead generating. We can put the fire out after we lead generate. And I haven't always shared this perspective, and I just started to. One of my kids was in Afghanistan last summer when they had that horrible situation over there. And ever since that day, I don't get upset about the urgent. There are no emergencies in real estate that can't wait for lead generating to be over. And my perspective on that is when something is seamlessly blowing up or urgent, my response to myself is no one got killed today. No one got blown up today. So don't let somebody else blow up your business by not allowing you that lead generating time. The urgent can wait until the important is done. Every time. And real estate is a symbiotic relationship, right? We need to solve a problem. Where do people live? We're here to help. So we need to do more and more of that. And the more that we help people, the more success we're going to experience too.
Well, Susan, isn't it fascinating too? Gary, who runs this whole circus of ours, right? He's got a note on his desk that says, if it's not my one thing, it's only a distraction. And I think people poke fun at Gary because they're like, well, he wrote this book called The One Thing and he's got 8 million things, but he's got 8 million people for the 8 million things.
That's right.
His one thing, he will tell you, his one thing is to keep us central in the transaction. And you'll start to grow into that. Like Susan was saying, Gary said, lead generation is your one thing. But I've got to we go from growing our business to running our business. That second chapter, that second line of items that Susan was talking about. And it's true, but as you build your business, you'll start to leverage out with talent. Because you could get to a point wherever you may be, like without fail, when you and John go on vacation in a few weeks, your phone's still going to ring and you're going to divert leads back to people here because you're on vacation. And if you can do lead generation at the highest level, you can do it in sandals with a cold drink in your hand. Probably shouldn't be intoxicated while you're lead generating, but anyway, with a cold drink in your hand from a beach, as long as there's a team in your home zip code that can rock and roll for you. It's that simple. This one thing we're asking you to do first, should you love the daylights out of it, could be the last thing you ever do from wherever you want. We've got mega agents all over the country that just sit home, they make enough dials, and then they go play golf, and their team crushes it because they built a plane at 40,000 feet that they were able to jump out of and live their life.
Yep, absolutely.
Don't overthink it.
Yeah, don't overthink it. We got to keep remembering this is a simple job. It is not complicated, but it is about daily habits, and we have daily success habits. So, Ignite is broken up into two different areas. Spark, which is going to be the beginning, the first 2 weeks, and Spark is the whys and hows of lead generation, right? There are daily habits, and then we'll get our appointment. And then Elementals is about building our business basics. So our daily habits, what does that look like, right? So 30 minutes starting your day every day is about updating your contacts in Command. Okay, and Command, for those of us that are really new, Command is your database that you get from Keller Williams. You must use your database. You think that you're going to remember to reach back out and connect with people, but you won't. You're going to get busy. If you're doing your job in lead generating and adding more people all the time to relationships that you want to be building, then you won't be remembering who you were supposed to follow up with when you're on the phone and you're like, yeah, I'm going to call you in 2 weeks to follow up on this property or whatever. You got to put that stuff in your database. You've got to put all their contact information in. You have to know how to communicate with them, email, phone numbers, addresses, family information. So we'll have more conversations around Command in your database, but we need to be updating that all the time. We need to be touching it. Your database it's like a living, breathing thing. It's not stagnant. So we need to treat it that way.
Well, what's most horrifying too, Susan, if people think about it, I think when you hear about veteran, I'll say veteran, not senior. I'm a senior agent. When veteran agents are about to go to the beach for the final time and they're going to sell their business, you picture like brick and mortar and desks, and no, it's a thumb drive, right? Which is like, oh, all that work, and it's on a 16 gig thumb drive or a terabyte thumb drive. Yes, it's data. That's what you're going to hand on, or that's what you're going to leave with your team. So the database is so important. Our fearless leader here, our regional director, Nathan Dickey, also our OP here at 463. The one regret he has, and clearly we're doing okay, but the one regret he has, when he was an agent, he would have been better and more purposeful about his database.
Yeah.
Because as Susan was joking, it's about the follow-up than the follow-through. And it's difficult to do when all your phone numbers are on napkins and 3M notes floating around your car. Where did I put that, right? And then Frank calls me back and he's like, dude, you were going to do that CMA for me. I'm like, oh, right. So it happens to the best of us. You do the lead gen and the follow-up, but the follow-through, when they ask for value from you, how do you have that note? Where do you put that? It's in your CRM. It's in your Command.
Yep. And, we need to do 30 minutes of script practice every day with a partner, right? And why do we script? Because it gives you the ability to speak eloquently, to be able to explain the many elements of real estate when on the fly without having to think about it. You know what scripting does? It helps us to be more authentic. It helps for us to practice how to talk in terms of what's happening in the market. It gives us the ability to listen when we're having conversations. If we don't practice our scripts and our language that we're going to be using, then when I'm calling and I pick up the phone and I call Tim and I'm trying to have a meaningful conversation about real estate, I'm only worried about what the next thing I'm going to say is. I'm not listening to what he's telling me. And people can feel that, when you're talking to someone and they're not listening to you. You can almost see them through the phone flipping through Facebook while you're on the phone with them.
1000%. And Ann talked about when she worked at MCI. If the kids are wondering what MCI is, it's a phone company from 1836. Ask your grandparents. Anyway,
Hey.
well, come on now, come on. So I know what it is. I'm not making fun of you. I'm making fun of, anyway. So when Ann was listening to the girl at her office crush it on the phone, I'm presuming, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm presuming she wasn't still reading off the sheet hanging from her cube. She had it memorized. We have to internalize this to memorize it so we can exercise it, right? Yeah. I think people hear the word script and like, I don't want to be scripted. I don't want to sound salesy. You're not going to. And Susan and I will always ask you this question. What's your favorite movie? If it's Caddyshack, I love you too. But think about your movie that you absolutely adore, that when you sit down and watch it, it pulls you into that story. And the reason it pulled you into that story is because at some point, all these actors and actresses sat around a table and read written word from a writer. and then they emotionalize it, right? You're going to hear it. If anybody's in bold, raise your paw if you're in bold right now. One of the bold laws, right? Logic makes them think, emotion makes them act. We have to romanticize what we do for a living. And when we can emotionalize what we're doing for a living, people want to get involved. Not like, hey, Susan, that's a lovely shirt you're wearing. Like, what? My mother would hang up on that, right? So if you don't know the scripts yet, that's it. You just don't know them yet. You will. And when you do, Susan, her husband, John, is one of our best. One of our best. He's unstumpable, right? Because we know there's about 5 to 7 objections we're going to hear on every property, right? There's 5 to 7 objections we're going to consistently hear. And to Susan's point, when I know what the objection probably is that's coming, I'm not going to rebut them. But as they keep having objections, they're extending the interview and they're offering me an opportunity to peel the onion and ask the next question. My job is to find out their motivation and reduce the stack of circumstances they think they have against them by asking more questions. That's all it is. Gary says this all the time. Great leaders don't have all the answers. We have all the questions. And our job is to lead them to the next logical step for them, which may or may not be to buy their house, sell their house, or join the industry.
Yep. Yep. Hey, Kelly. Kelly Goss, you have your hand up.
She's fighting with the mute button.
She's probably fighting with Wit, trying to get him to sit down and behave.
Well, and so yeah, what I like, scripting just gives us the language that we're going to need. And we can start practicing with a script that isn't ours, and then we internalize it and we massage it and make it us, so that it sounds more natural, the way that we would speak. But the words we say are important. They define who we are as business owners. So what we say matters. Our customers and our clients and our contacts, they deserve for us to be eloquent when we're speaking to them. If we can't speak intelligently, they're not going to want to do business with us, and I don't blame them. So we need to script practice every day. We need to do an hour of lead gen time, calling people and trying to earn new business. And when we're starting out, 1 hour really isn't enough, because right now we're talking about our daily habits, right? Right now, you're not running any business, so you have more time to lead generate. If you guys want to get to running your business, the faster you lead generate, the faster you get to running your business. So do more of that. And we practice our contracts so that when we get that appointment, we're not reading it for the first time and stumbling over it. If you can't flip that listing agreement upside down and slide it across the table and say, okay, line 1 is this, line 2 is this, then you haven't practiced it enough. If your market center offers contracts class, go to it. If your market center does not offer contracts class, ask them for it. Or try to get a group together in your market center to talk about contracts every week. They're super, super important. Okay? We cannot be making mistakes on contracts. And lead gen doesn't have to be boring. It should be your favorite part of the week. And lead generation is when we're on purpose about it. It's not just how many contacts can I make. If I'm not on purpose about working on getting appointments out of those contacts, then I'm just checking boxes off of a list. Okay. And then once we get that, we go into our elementals, which is business basics. And the habits and activities that we do will allow us to get over to the elemental side faster. Okay. It will make us more successful in a shorter period of time. What we want to do is we want to shrink that amount of time while we're ramping up our business so that we can get to the back end and get to a closing table. So we're going to talk more about the 10-4, about adding 10 new contacts, about 10 handwritten notes. We're going to talk about all of those things so that we can get you guys to the kitchen tables and get you to closing tables faster. You'll notice that we're really trying to focus here today on understanding that these are daily habits. They're not just like, oh, kind of out there that we have to do these to build our business. We're talking about things that we have to do every day. Okay. So we're going to talk about You don't like to talk to strangers, like cold calling? We're going to start with our sphere. Okay. That's no problem. We can talk to people that already know us. Who's in your phone? Open up your phone now. How many contacts do you have in there? So if you sit down and say, I don't have anyone to call, then I would challenge you to open this up and go to your contacts. How many phone numbers do you have in here? I bet you have a lot. There might be people in there that you don't even know. Just call them anyway. It could be a cousin, it could be a coworker, it could be a past coworker. But those contacts in your phone, there's business in there. There's people in there that know you, they like you. And we want to help people that we know and like. If you had a friend or a family member that opened up a coffee shop, would you stop going to Starbucks and start going to their coffee shop in the morning to support them? I would. So your friends and family, they want to help you too, but they can't help you if they don't know what you're doing. So maybe your appointment is to contact people in your phone and set an appointment to go buy them a coffee or go have a beer with them and tell them with excitement about your new business and what you're doing and why you're excited about it.
Great point, Susan. I wouldn't be able to go to your coffee shop if I didn't know it was open.
Right?
So when it gets to a point, at some point in your career, it will happen to all of us. So when Susan Kenyon sells my sister Stephanie's house, I'm not allowed to be mad at my sister or Susan. That's all my fault.
Yep.
Right? Like you're really not, I mean, I don't know what your relationship with your sister is. My sister hates me, but we still talk to each other at the holidays. And I would probably know if she was going to list. And I'm not in production anymore anyway. So it stands to reason Susan Kenyon could still get the listing, but I'd love for it to go through me. So if you start to find out the deals are happening around you that, oh my, that's not their fault. They didn't even know. Or you told them once in 1978, right? If you haven't told your people 7 times, right? Tell them 7 times before they forget, because you're going to start to run into, like at my advanced age, I get, oh my God, you're still alive and doing real estate. Like their first initial shock is I'm still here and I'm still licensed.
Yep.
Right? It's our job to stay in touch. The video game is incumbent upon us to stay in touch with them. Think about your friends that have a small business. If you got a friend who's a landscaper or they have a plowing company, which they're probably doing while they're landscaping over the winter. Your feet didn't hit the floor this weekend and think, oh my God, the weather's turning. They don't have any driveways to plow. I hope they're okay. Same with their feet don't hit the floor and they're not thinking, God, I hope Timmy has enough listings. Right? So we've got to make sure that we know that they know that we're always thinking of them and contacting them on a regular basis.
Absolutely. And you know what? We have to show our sphere that we care. So we're calling them, we're letting them know with excitement about our business, and we're asking them about their business. So we're going to talk more during Ignite about how to have those conversations, right? That Tim, it's the Ford script, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. We open up conversations with them. We don't pick up the phone, and Lisa had asked, hello, can I have an opening script asking for leads from my contacts? We don't pick up the phone asking for leads for our contacts right out of the gate. We pick up the phone, ask them about their family, about their, hey, summer's coming up. Do you guys have any vacation planned? How's work going? They're going to say, oh, work's going great. How's work going for you, Susan? It's going great. I'm super excited about starting.
I'm glad you asked. Yep.
Right? It opens up conversation. The script is caring. We call out of care. And then the conversation, every conversation can come back to real estate. Okay? What's happening? What life events are happening in that person's life? Are they upsizing? Are they downsizing? How's Zoom classes going? Who's working from home? How's that going? Do you have space for that? Are you guys like too close to each other right now? Like we're seeing too much of our family members at these last 2 years for some of us. And then
for some people, refi might still be a conversation too, Susan, right?
Yes.
Depending on where they bought and where the rates are now, if they have equity, up to Susan's point, if they have a life event coming up, do they need to grab some equity out of their house for college, for anything, or to make improvements to their house because they want to expand the structure because they're tired of their family because they've been locked in the house for 2 years. And yes, that's starting to fold a little bit, and they still want a bigger deck. They want to build out the basement. And if they don't have any need for your services, and like, yeah, not really, but then you go right into, well, who do you know that I should know? At the very least, if I know they're a homeowner, I'm going to call Alex Lamonte and I'll be like, hey, I know you've been in there for 2 years. Do you guys know where you stand in the market? The equity conversation is massive right now. Massive for people right now. And nobody's calling to offer that, because if you're waiting for your first listing to do your first CMA, you may wait too long, right? You want to be well-versed in that conversation. So when you get your first listing, you're flawless at CMAs because you've been running equity updates for all the people on your phone. Seems like a lot of work. It is. Welcome.
It is a lot of work, but the more you do it, the faster it will get. And it will also give you a chance to put your script practice into real life use, you know? So when you're calling these people and they ask how your job is and how's real estate going, and you're like, yeah, I know everyone's talking about how the market is getting so high. Have you had an equity analysis done in your house? I'm doing that for a lot of folks. Even if you haven't done it for anyone, you can say that. I'm doing that for a lot of folks. I'm just going in and sitting down and talking to them about what they might be looking at for equity in their home. Is there anyone at your job that might be looking for that? Anyone in your job that's looking to make a move that I might be able to help with? I like to give them a specific area in their head to go to if I am going to go down the path of asking for a referral. Because if you say, oh, do you know anyone that's going to be looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? They're like, yeah, no. It's like, that's too big of a question. Let me narrow that down. Maybe my friends work at Liberty Mutual. They're all working from home now. So when I call them, it would be like, hey, Dee, how's working from home going? Anyone else at Liberty Mutual looking to maybe make a change that I can help with? And now she can go to her Liberty Mutual mind and say, oh, yeah, actually, Stacy was looking to make a move because she can work from Florida now. Why don't you give her a call? Here's her number. Give them a place to go to if they're going to ask for a referral. Maybe it's church. People are going back into church, guys. Things are opening up.
Such a great way to put it too, Susan, because I think we got away from, I think for some people, to your point about church, people are like, well, I don't know what their denomination is. I'm probably not going to ask about church. The reason, if I know that Anthony belongs to a certain church, why I would ask about that is, to Susan's point, when I ask, who do you know on planet Earth? They're trying to Rolodex 7 billion people. They're like, not sure. But as soon as I say soccer, book club, church, Liberty Mutual, they shrink those categories. They start to see faces and recall conversations. Because all I need is the one conversation. The video game of what we're doing, guys, is get myself in conversation today with a person that I can move forward on the pathway to home ownership. That's your win. That's your win. We got to celebrate those little wins too, because that's all progress.
Yep, absolutely. So we're going to start with our sphere. Your sphere is people you have met in one way, shape, or form. You know, my husband, John, got his license before me, and I worked at Liberty Mutual until we could save and plan and prepare for me to leave Liberty and have a 100% commission household, right?
You live in New Hampshire and worked at Liberty Mutual. Shocking. Tell me less. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was one of the 90%.
Shocking. Yeah.
Population.
Shocking.
And, you know, we had 3 small kids, 2 car payments, lots of orthodontic bills. So we had to prepare for that. But if I can do that, you can. We had to have money in the bank. And then we had to double down because we had to replace my salary and the benefits that I was carrying for our family in the first year. And we did do that. John he built his business on cold calling expireds and for sale by owners. Why? Because that's the hardest way to do it. One of them, instead of calling his sphere. He was a builder for 22 years. You know how big his sphere is? Enormous. He grew up in this area his whole life. His sphere is huge. He didn't want to bother them. So when I joined him, we started calling our sphere. Your sphere wants to help you, people. Don't discount them by any stretch. Don't discount them.
Well, real quick too, I want you guys to hear this loud and clear, because I think we take sphere and sphere of influence and we've sort of amalgamated those two different words, and they're not the same. So everyone in your phone is in your sphere. Certain people in your phone are influential. Our job is to build the influence within our phone. Who are we influential over in our phone, and who in our phone is influential in our community, right? And, you know, no disrespect, but you've got somebody in your phone that you met on Facebook, and the name of the group was I Only Talk to My Cat. I love Barbara. She's a lovely woman, and she only talks to her cat. So I'm going to check in with her and stay close to her, but she's not going to move the needle for me as much as some other people who may work for the city or who work at Bibbity Mutual, and know 9 million people that work at Bibbity Mutual, right? So we want to continue to grow the influence within our sphere. That's wildly important. And if you're ignoring your phone, see, John Kenyon is a builder. So he also enjoys hitting his hand with a hammer. He enjoys pain. So he went right to the puck that was most difficult to skate after and said, I'm going to call expireds and FSBOs. Now they're raising their hand and saying they want to be part of the business, but there's also not a created relationship yet. So trust me when I say the heirloom seeds of your future garden of real estate are already in your phone. Talk to the people that you know and love and trust.
Yeah.
They're going to get you there faster. Without fail.
They sure will. And, you know, this NAR in 2020, their poll was 66% of sellers and 41% of buyers found their agent through a friend. 66% of sellers. Who are we trying to find right now in this market? Sellers. Where do they find them? Through their friends. Be a friend. Make more friends, people.
Gary just shared at family reunion, 87%, write this down twice, 87% of sellers worked with the first agent they spoke to.
How crazy is that?
What is it? Is it Talladega Nights? If you're not first, you're losing, right? Just get there. Be first.
If you're not
first.
Yeah. You know, go ahead.
Hi, Susan. And I'm sorry, before Robert was right, I was chasing a puppy and I apologize.
Kelly, no problem. How are you?
I knew it.
Yeah.
I heard a couple people and I just wanted to say that I know for everybody on this call that's new, this is the third time that I've sat in Ignite, and I might not be here every day, but I will be here because there's always something that you get. And I used to be like, oh, I have to do a script and I have to do it exactly how it says, but I don't want to sound like a used car salesman. I don't want to do that. And I can tell you right now, in 2 years, I've never started a conversation by letting someone know right off the bat I was in real estate. I just called to ask them how they were. And every single conversation I've had, and I've had, I can't even count how many, always winds up back to, yeah, I'm in real estate. Yes, I joined Keller Williams. Yes. And I've never, I don't want to say this that people don't, I've never gotten a lead, a listing, a new buyer client by starting my conversation like that. I've always gotten them just by starting to talk to someone about them and about finding out about them, and those care calls and the things that we'll get from this Ignite will help you to, like Tim was saying, go through that list and help you to find the people that you want to call first or that you want to grow first. But you don't have to be worried that you have to sound like a used car salesman or that you're trying to sell them something. If you just genuinely care about the people that you're calling, you will build your sphere, you will get your leads, and you will get those listings. So I just wanted to share that. And for the girl that asked, what does she do? Because she lives in a new place, join whatever you love, go out in your community and join that. And it is the best time because everybody's coming out of their shell. It's like the movie The Wiz, where everybody popped out of those ugly monkey costumes and saw the sun again. That's what's happening in the world. So join something in your community, join 7 things in your community if you want to, but that's where you'll find them. Absolutely. In a new community. That's it.
Good job. Thank you for sharing, Kelly. We appreciate that. We appreciate you, Kelly.
I appreciate it.
So what this means to us is that the path to making the money that we want to make is to start with your sphere. Okay. And remember, people do business with people that they like. Okay?
Susan?
Yeah. Hi.
Hi. I have had more business from where we used to go to pool night and years ago and poker. And my business has suffered the last 2 years because we haven't been at poker. I'm like, I've got to get out and find something. Because they're not even doing it anymore because no one wants to touch dirty chips, right? So I'm figuring that out. Like I'm going to find somewhere else. But I also wanted to comment on the script and like talking to someone like a friend. Back in 1836, when I worked at MCI, Tim, we had
Amen, sister.
yes, back when phones had cords, like we had
Yes.
a really long
Gramercy's
cord.
368. Yes. Yeah.
Yes, really long cord. I was walking all the way around the place talking at the same time because I said the same thing every day. I had it in
Yep.
my head. I knew it didn't sound scripty because I had it in my head a million times. And sometimes I would answer, and then when I was in inbound, I would be home and I'd answer my phone. Thank you for calling up. Oh, I mean, hello. So, but one of the people that sat next to me, he was struggling and they had him monitor me. And I was talking to him and I could hear their kids in the background. Oh, how old are your kids? Blah, 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 blah. He got so mad. He was like, are you trying to make a sale or a friend? I'm like, both. And he just didn't understand that connection. I'm like, you're just talking to them like a normal person and getting them comfortable before you pounce on them, basically, like that's not what we're trying to do here.
Yeah.
So, and the funniest part of that story is I'm still friends with him 30 years later.
Good for you.
Yep.
Well, it is about creating rapport too, right? And a couple of other tools that you guys will hear about at KW is we utilize the DISC and the KPA. And it's going to be on your initial conversation with somebody. When I first call Alex Lamonte, I have no idea if he's a DISC, whatever the case may be. I'm not sure where he falls within his KPA. But because I've taken mine and I have a better understanding of who I am, I can probably identify who he is. And that guy that day was probably more of a high D. Just give me the facts, ma'am, and get me off the phone, right? At the same time, for you to make that phone call, and like you said, you were very scripted. In a lot of these sales organizations, they are. I'm going to give you guys a whole bunch of books for sure. If you're not reading Simon Sinek, start yesterday. And his third book that's out now is called The Infinite Game. Because are you transactional in this moment, or are you nurturing? And again, it'll feel transactional if you're working with an unmet. But if I'm calling Susan Kenyon, my friend, to make sure she understands I'm in real estate and having these nurture conversations to move her, off the beach into the water and then into my boat, my ambassadorship, then I'm going to be very purposeful about all these conversations. Here comes another platitude. You're welcome. They do not care what we know until they know that we care. And that's so true. And I've got somebody who's mad at me because I'm trying to break ground and ask about their kids. I appreciate some people might think that's an overstep because they expect it to be salesy. Be different, because you're going to start to create the people that you want to work with are going to be like-minded with you, and they're going to find more like-minded people through them for you to work with, right? If you're going to be transactional, then rock and roll, read the paper, dial for dollars, hang up next, hang up next, hang up next. And it's not that you can't be efficient in your calls to your people, but if you're having true groundbreaking nurture and foundational phone calls in your business, people are going to appreciate it. And they're not going to see the phone call on January 2nd and be like, oh my God, he's making his. It's just going to be another call from Tim Lindsay. Could be Red Sox tickets, might need bail money. Not really sure, but when he calls, it's always fun. Hey, Timmy, what's going on? Right. Got to break down that barrier. Make it great for them.
Being human.
Yep.
Just be human for sure. All right. Oh, and here we go. I love this slide. And I use this in my business because this will tell you how to stay in touch with your sphere, right? It will. So what you do is you people here the likelihood of a move and at what time. So the first dot right up here on the top, that's the day that somebody buys or sells, right? It's that now they are the farthest away they are that they can be from their next transaction. And so when you see that your friend bought with someone else or sold with someone else, that's how you plot them right there. Now, don't let that happen to you again, because people move all the time. It used to be 5 to 7 years, and I bet it's earlier than that now. So what you're doing is you're staying in touch with them. You're using your database so that as you're making calls to them, you're putting notes in there. What's happening in their life? So that when they get down to the bottom here, to this next one, that's the day after they sell. We now need to start tracking here to when they're going to buy and sell again. What's happening in their life? So right now, I want you guys to think about the people in your life. Try to find 5 to 7 people that you can plot on this wave. This wave right here, that something's happening in their life. I'm getting married. I'm getting divorced. I'm having a baby. I'm becoming an empty nester. I'm looking for a second home. What life event is happening right here that's going to get them to here? And as this starts heating up, then your frequency of calls to them starts heating up. Now, here's the important thing. This is when they're going to transact again. You can't be calling them right here the day before they're ready to do that. This is the relationship part where we're continuously showing them that we care about them, about their families, that we care about positively impacting their life. So when they're ready right up here, they think of us first. They can't think of us first if we're a secret agent. Everyone has to know what we do.
Well, Susan, you might hit them at that moment. You might also win Powerball.
True. It's not a total 0% chance.
Yeah. So you're saying there's a chance, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to go on more vacations, not less. So I need to constantly be plotting people on that line. If you're not able to plot anyone, the trouble is you don't know where to be and you won't be at the right place at the right time. If you don't stay in touch with them, you kind of have a hope and wish method. I hope I'm in the right place and I'm wishing for success. That hope and wish is not a strategy. Being a person, your sphere doesn't have to know that, oh, I need to call you to plot you on this line. That's just, part of what we're doing behind the scenes because we care about them. If you want to feel in control about how much money you make and how much you're able to do for your family, then the more people you can plot on this line will give you more control. How many of those people are wanting to make a move within 30 days? It will tell us how to stay in touch with them, how to be top of mind. So who do you know right now? Can you guys name 5 to 7 people that you could plot, right here? Those should be your first calls. So when you're lining up the calls that you need to make and you're using command, you put somebody in command and a life event is happening, you best be making a reminder that that's going to be one of your next calls.
Anybody who watches James Shaw in the morning at 8 o'clock, he gave some horrifying math on right around January 1st. Whatever your goals were for 2022, 15% of that should have been under contract on January 1st, just because of the way the calendar rolls. So if that's giving you anxiety, breathe. It's going to be okay. But we just need to know that, again, today is Sunday, June 5th, right? And what do we mean by that? Whatever you're doing today to set an appointment is going to be at a closing table, provided it's a listing. And again, with the scarcity in our listed inventory right now, it could take that long for a buyer too, right? So just understand we're 90 days out. So if you're not having the conversations, you're not plotting that line. There's another great book, Brian Moran, the 90-day, the 12-week year. Brian Moran talking about chunking down your year into 12-week segments. So we're just attacking the quarter, right? And just chunking it down. It's all about winning the morning.
Yeah. And the life events too, you're showing people you care. So if someone's, maybe they're having a baby, you're staying in touch with them with care on how that's going and how that's changing their life. And have you started buying all the stuff that's going to be required of that baby? Are you running out of space? And you're sending them cards in care. People love cards. I'm a big fan of handwritten notes and mailers, and not mailers, but pieces of mail that are handwritten, or cards or things that show that you care. I'm not a big fan of yucky, sterile, generic mailers, because I feel like people stand in front of the trash, and those are the ones that hit the bucket first. But a card gets put to the top of the list every time.
Sometimes it's just about being there too, right? Like my friend's mom died, and she's not even in my service zone. And she posted on Facebook that she needed help cleaning the house. So I drove 2 hours away. And I helped her clean the house. And I tried to refer it to another agent, and she didn't call her. I was like, my friend's sitting there waiting for you. You have a listing being handed to you, and they didn't call her. So I went down and listed it, and I sold it in 2 days for almost 100,000 more than what she was asking for. And it's like, I don't understand people sometimes, but it was about me getting in the car, because she posted on Facebook, crickets. Nobody's coming to help me. I didn't want I didn't even care about wanting the listing so much. It's just, I wasn't my intention. I showed up because to help her. Every single listing, I have 6 listings right now that are under contract. And unfortunately, most of them are somebody who has passed away, because they're people who don't need to buy again. And so they're making out on the market, right? But there's a need for that. People who care, right? Like, and can just talk to people like people and say, hey, I know you're hurting right now. How can I help you? What do you need? How can I show up for you? So I have 6 listings in the last 2 months, all from that. Unfortunately, out of 6, one was I just closed an old folks home, and all the other 5 are one person has passed in this situation. And I'm not stalking that. It's coming to me. I don't know why.
Well, good for you, Laura, because when you care and you show people that you care, that will always come back to you. When we are always coming from abundance, when we're always showing people and doing and serving, that will come back to you in referrals. And those people now will carry your flag in the marketplace. And when someone says to them, who, I might be looking to buy or sell or whatever, you're going to be the person that they think of, because you've shown them already that you care.
Well, your friend that you went 2 hours out of the way for your friend, that's a raving fan now for life. Because you said at the top of your statement, you said she's out of my service zone. Planet Earth, Laura, is your service zone, right? With the strength of this company behind you, and you tried to refer it out, and I appreciate that. I'm sure you're thrilled with your friend who never called her, and you still took care of it, right? You still took care of it. Nice job.
I did. I could, I wasn't going to take it because it was out of my zone, but I didn't. And by the way, I'm a 20-year agent, right? And I was a productivity coach, and I enjoy watching these, because 20 years in, you learn more from people who don't know what they don't know. So I'm enjoying, you guys are doing a great job. I'm enjoying this. As you can tell, I'm doing things with my horses and stuff in the picture and for real right now. So
Awesome. We are going to flip the page over to that Ford script that we talked about before. But I'm going to stop here for a break, because this could take a little bit of time, and I want to make sure that we can give it the right amount of time. So it is 10:20 right now. Why don't we come back at 10:30? Will that work for everybody? Okay.
There'll be a quiz at 10:31. Oh no, what do we always promise cake? There'll be cake when you get back. Come back for the cake. Come back for the baked goods. Yeah, there's gonna be cake, Robert. Very exciting. See you at 10:30, guys. We're going to come back in about 2 minutes. Just a heads up for everybody. Who's got a listing they're excited about? Who's got a kitchen table they booked they're excited about? Questions, comments, concerns, hopes and dreams. All right.
I have several clients that I'm working with, but they're all like very finite properties that they're looking for. So it's really frustrating with no inventory out there right now.
Okay. So I'm going to challenge your thinking on that. The good news is you've got people you're working with. Are they signed?
No.
The buyers you're working with, are they signed?
No, they're close friends though. So I know.
No, do you though?
Yeah, I
you?
do.
Oh, I love that you're saying this out loud. I love you so much. Thank you for saying this. Our good friends and our family, like we live in Arkansas, they can't wait to screw us. Like, trust me, kid. Trust me. They're going to take such extra license with you if you're not careful. Please, please proceed with caution. And getting them signed. Here's the thing. If you were a dentist, does your friend Stacy flip back in the chair and say, hey, Ellen, by the way, this root canal, this is on the house, right? Or you're not going to charge me as much, right? As soon as you show up with a clipboard and paperwork and start to act professional, you're doing them a favor first and foremost, right? So just proceed with caution there. I'm never, ever going to tell you guys how to run your business. I'm going to offer best practices, and being professional from the first moment of the transaction with your family and friends is going to be hyper important to your greatness moving forward. That being said, if you've got people that are looking for something and it's not available, you just got a hunting license to go get it, right? Because I want to challenge our thought process behind what inventory is. When you drove to the office today, or if you're sitting at home today, if you went out into your front yard and looked up and down the street, what's at the end of every driveway? Inventory. We just haven't brought it to market yet, right? So you got to ask your buyers that are looking for something, to your point, that is exclusive, different, unique. Do they think the house they're going to buy currently exists on planet Earth, or do they plan on digging a hole and pouring a foundation and building one? Most of them are going to say, oh no, it's probably here. So give them that homework, right? We just had a beautiful weekend where you could have done it. Have them do it this weekend. And we're about to move the clocks. So after work, it's not going to be too dark for them to pull this off. Just give them the homework of saying, well, Mr. Lindsay, I appreciate that. Hey, I know you want to be in Portsmouth. What street? Right. And I say, Maple Street. Is there a house on that street you guys love? Oh yeah, 28, yet it's not for sale. Well, that's my job, Mr. Lindsay, right? If they can give you an address, you can now with integrity go and knock on the door and say, hi, Ellen from Keller Williams. And I have clients that want to move into your house. You thinking about moving in the next 10, 20 or 30 minutes? I would say it just like that to catch them off guard, right? Okay. And you have to be okay with them saying, serendipitous. We were just talking about this actually, although we have a relationship with our good friend, Susan Kenyon. She's going to be listing on our behalf, but I'll make sure she calls you. That's still a win for your client. It's still a win for your business. Right. But you also expedited it moving, right? If you ever worked at Market Bucket or Hannah Foods, before you close the store, everybody faces the shelf. We have to treat the universe like a supermarket, and we have to just face the shelf of our industry. We have to start to bring this product to the front of the shelf. Because most of our people are going to buy stuff that's already built. There's a new construction conversation to be had too. But if they're really looking to move and they think they know what they want is already in existence, have them do some homework, work together as a team. You'll create just like our other friend did. You'll create a raving fan. Who is it? Laura Gould with her horse, Mr. Buttercup, right? She's got a raving fan. She went and helped empty her mother's house, list it 2 hours out of her service zone.
Okay.
And her friend's never going to stop talking about her. And your clients won't either if you do something that's extraordinary for them, not just wait for them to find it on Billo.
Okay.
Right.
Sounds good.
Thanks for being here to get picked on. I love you. And you're not in Providence. Are you in Providence? I just guessed.
Peabody, Mass.
Oh yeah, kid. I grew up in Chelmsford. I don't want to offend anybody, but I usually do. I'm a masshole as well. Welcome. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome.
It's part of your charm, Tim.
Oh, is that what we're calling it? My wife has a different word.
That's not the word I was using.
Me neither.
My wife has a different word for it. Yeah.
Tim, I had a question about where I find that quarterly breakdown you were talking about.
Oh, the book that I was talking about, Brian Moran. It's called The 12-Week Year. I'm also going to tell you to look up Simon Sinek. There's 3 books you should be reading from him. He's phenomenal. Sinek, Simon Sinek. His first book is Start With Why. His second book is Leaders Eat Last. And his third book is The Infinite Game. And that's about the long play. Like, are you doing what you're doing in real estate today to build a business and a legacy you can step away from? Or are you transactional? And said with love, Nathan Dickey said this to our group this morning. If you're transactional right now, especially in this economy and especially in this real estate industry, you should probably just go to Kohl's and fold t-shirts, right? Because it's going to eat you alive. If you're reading the script to get a transaction, it's wildly different than I'm working on my conversations with the people I know and love and trust to build a business and a legacy. And Brian Moran is the 12-week year. Phenomenal book. Just chunks it down. You got to chunk everything we're doing down.
Thank
Right?
you.
You're welcome.
Great segue into scripts. Thank you for that. So we're going to talk about the Ford script, right? Don't fear your sphere, practice the Ford method. And I always found it funny because I always thought Ford meant found on road dead, because my dad
Very judgy for us Ford drivers, but go ahead.
Ford drivers, but
Excuse me, I'd be first on race day.
First, no, I like that one, Driscoll. Nice work, kid.
That's not the one I know.
All right. All right.
Fix or repair daily?
Yeah.
Ford is family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. So guys, when we were looking at the wave, the last script before we took a break, those 5 to 7 people on your wave should be your first calls, and start with the Ford script. And the script is just being you, but it allows you to lead the conversation. Okay? Family. Do they have small children? Do they have adult children that are, maybe they're going to be downsizing? You know, what's the family? Do they have aging parents that they're caring for? Are they the aging parents that you're calling? Know who you're talking to and talk to them about their family. Hey, how's your family? That's not a very hard script to memorize. Hey, how's your family? You know, and the purpose of this is that we want to lead our sphere calls by helping them look to the future. That's what the purpose of pulling this information. We're information gatherers here. We want to lead the conversation because we want to lead that person to be looking into the future, so that we can together be looking into where their real estate land needs are going to land. And some of these people, maybe you haven't talked to them in a long time. You could open with, hey, how's your life going? That's not a hard script. Hey, how's your life going? How's your family? Okay. Occupation. You know, for millennials, maybe it's a job change. For, you know, I'm 53, maybe I'm starting to look towards retirement. Maybe I'm starting to look for a promotion.
There's no way you're 53, but keep going.
I like working with Tim because he's good for my ego. You know, what's happening with their job? I mean, job occupation right now, what a huge way to open up a conversation. Have you been working from home? How's that going? Who else in your family is working from home? Where are you guys working from home? How are you physically like fitting that into your house? Has that caused any issues for you? What would your family life look like if you had a space in a future home that had more space for home offices? Is working from home going to be a way of life for you now? Does that mean you could move anywhere? I mean, I know you've always stayed in Stratford, Tim, because of work. But now that you can work anywhere, have you guys thought about some, you know, where would your dream home be? Would you really want to be in the Seacoast?
Leaving the metropolis of Stratford? How dare you? Well, another great point to be cognizant of right now too, guys, because I know, you know, we talked about it quite a bit at our market center, the great resignation. I said in the third and fourth quarter, people would be piecing out. They did. And I call myself Nostradamus. I didn't really make a great prediction. I just saw it coming. I guess a lot of people did. That being said, I think right now where masks are coming off, people are being more comfortable. I think big corporations are welcoming people back in. They might pump the brakes on that right now because they know that people haven't been driving. And if you've been to a gas pump in the last 20 minutes, people aren't going to be thrilled about driving back into their office. And that's going to be another prong on the fork of the conversation of maybe I stay home for one more quarter, right? So don't think, oh, everybody's going back to the office. I heard this, I heard that. The gas economy right now could be a thing that keeps employers have the people stay home rather than people piecing out or looking for a job that will allow them to stay home. So when Susan's talking about, do you need that extra room? And people do. I don't like working from home. I came in during the whole thing because this space to me is sacred and I can do everything I need to do here. And at home, it's 3 cats. My wife was working from home for a little bit. We have 2 kids in high school. Yeah, I'd rather lay in traffic. So, if it's not ideal for you to be at the office or you definitely need more space, have that conversation. And I don't think we're asking the questions. We're not asking enough questions. I think they think about it and they think it's too difficult to move. But long term, what's the alleviation on the relationship and the family and their lifestyle? It's a lifestyle conversation, right? If everybody had their own space.
Yeah. What are some fears and hesitations that you guys have about calling your sphere, if you have them?
I don't have any family that lives around me. They all live in the Midwest. I guess that would be my biggest, is it even worth like calling them or interacting with them?
Well, you do have opportunities if they are even in their area that is far away from you, if they're looking to make a move. I do a lot of referral business. And I love that because if I hear that somebody's going to be moving to, they're in Florida looking for a place, Command has an awesome feature for finding agents. That's how I find them in different areas that I can kind of investigate them and make a good match. Then I call that agent to find out if they're a good match, let them know about my person that's looking to make a move, either buying or selling. And then I connect them. And then when they close, I get a 25% referral check, boom, in my account that I wasn't planning on. And that can be, that's like real money with zeros on it.
I think it was Maxwell that spoke up and everybody could steal this because everyone has access to Command. So what Susan was talking about, go into your referrals within Command. In there's a migration patterns tool. So Maxwell, I'm just going to pick somewhere up Midwest, Des Moines. I'm probably wrong. And if you're from Des Moines, I'm going to look at Des Moines and I'm going to see where people are coming and going from in Des Moines. And then you're going to find a Rockstar KW agent in Des Moines, maybe several, right? Because it is what it is. And then I'm going to find out where are people from Des Moines migrating to and fro. And then I'm going to find rock stars in those areas too. Then I'm going to start to call my people back at home. And they think, because they're civilians and they watch HGTV, God help us all, they think that everybody buys and sells a house in 22 minutes minus commercials. It's a bigger story and a bigger conversation than that. So letting them know that you've got great resources on your team, use the royal we, that you can help them out. So if they're leaving Des Moines or they've got family that's moving to Des Moines from anywhere, you've got great referral agents that are focused on your hotspot of where you grew up. Everyone should be doing that.
And I don't tell them I'm getting a referral from that.
Just want to help.
The script is great. I'm so happy that you told me that. I just, what I love about Keller Williams is that we are all trained so well. We all have fantastic support and resources. Let me connect you with someone that I know will take very good care of you. Mm-hmm. How does that sound? That's an easy script. And then you make the connection. Hey, Eric.
Hey, so I think you might have just more or less answered the question I had, but I'll throw it out there anyway. So I'm in somewhat the same boat as the last speaker, where most of my contacts, most of my sphere is people who live where I used to live and not where I currently live. But as you just said, my first order of business is to reach out to all those people and let them know that, hey, I can take the pain out of finding a real estate agent for anybody you know. Let me find them somebody who will take good care of them. And then, and that's because that's in my world. And then, and then they can move on with their business. And so, but my dilemma was, I kind of had the opposite idea, was where mentioning that I do get a referral isn't like this big, evil thing or whatever, because I don't want the people in my sphere to think they're putting me out, like reaching out to me and having me do that. Because I don't think anybody would begrudge me making money doing something that I make a living doing. This is what we do. Why shouldn't I get paid for my service? So if anything, I kind of felt like them knowing I was getting something for this effort would probably be even more of an incentive for them to do this, because I'm still giving them a valuable service. I'm going to interview people, make sure they get somebody who's a good fit for their friend, and you know, et cetera, et cetera. But I was thinking of going the opposite way. So I'm just kind of curious. I mean, I know you just said you leave that part out, but I'm curious what your thoughts are on my take.
You know, from my perspective, whatever works for you is what you should do more of to start with. My reason for not doing is that I never want the conversation to be about me and what I'm getting. I always want the conversation to be about them and what I'm helping
Giving.
them
Yeah.
achieve.
Yep.
Okay. So that's the reason that I do it the way that I do it. And as far as people feeling like, oh, why you're just doing that to make money off me, that is, I do referral business every year, and that has not one time ever come up. And if someone's feeling like that's an objection that could happen, I just want to throw this out there. There's one person in our lives that we talk to more than anybody else on this planet, and that's ourselves. So we have to be telling ourselves good things. And I don't think there's anything wrong with me making money off of stuff like that. And I don't think that it's a problem for everybody, because I'm really good at what I do, and I authentically want to connect them with someone that's going to help them.
I'm smart enough, I'm good enough, and gosh darn it, people like me.
Yeah.
Stuart Smalley.
Yeah.
Four people just got that. Anyway, so I want to say this too. Whatever we think they're thinking that's going to cause them to not do business with us, they're not.
They're not. If we're starting off with I think, yep, then we're not in the right mindset of give, help, value,
yep,
to them. Because really, when we're making these calls, it should always be about them. 100%.
Head down, heart up.
Yeah.
Service first, sales second. Gary says it all the time.
Yeah. Hey, Alex.
All right, so I've uncovered a new fear when calling my sphere, and Tim's gonna laugh and tell me to shut that.
No, I love this. I love this. Go ahead, buddy.
So I was shedding my fear of talking to my sphere until recently, when now it seems like every time I reach out to somebody, the conversation switches from just how they're doing to, oh my God, did you hear that so-and-so's in real estate? Did you hear that this person's in real estate? So many people are getting into the industry, and now it's like, all right, if I reach out more often than not, it seems like they're mentioning some other person's name about real estate that just got in the business. I've been licensed for almost 6 years now, but I'm diving back in, as some of the people on this call know. So I'm diving in head first, but that's the new fear about my sphere, is that there's other people that are new and they're excited to share that name with me because they think that I think that that's awesome. No, I just want to help them.
You know, I really appreciate your transparency. I'm grateful for that. Thank you so much for saying that. And I think a lot of people probably have thought those same things, because there are a lot of people getting into real estate. But you know what I'm so excited about, Alex? I'm excited that my career is with Keller Williams, because I chose them on their focus of training and serving their community. So how's everything going with your family?
They'll never outcare you, right? And that's where you've got to remember. And I just wrote down the numbers real quick, just to bring everybody into the conversation. There are 7,000 licensed agents in Keller Williams New England region number 17. Our New England region has 7,000 licensed agents. If we take Pareto's law, the 80-20 rule, what do we know? 20% of the agents are doing 80% of the business. So only 1,400 of you are probably going to make calls today. And that number gets smaller because there's some of you on this call saying, I ain't making calls today. I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be great, right? So of the 1,400 that we know will do 80% of the business this year, let me look real quick, 60 of you in the room. And Susan and Robert and I don't count because we're here to teach. There's 57 of the 1,400 of the 7,000 dialed in right now.
Yeah.
So the differentiation between you, Alex, and everybody else you're hearing about getting into the industry is that you're on the phone with them right now. You can affect change for them right now. You're in the conversation right now, because you could all argue, well, everybody's got Nathan Dickey's number, Susan. What sets me apart from everybody else in the region?
Mm-hmm.
Who called him last? And who, when he becomes transactional, is he going to think about, right? That's what's going to separate you from the rest.
Absolutely. And I was playing with you a little bit, Alex. That was the script I would have used on them if they had said that to me. And it is about being in front of them more. So guess what? Lots of people are getting their license, but not many people are calling them and offering value and showing they care. Kelly, what's up, Kelly?
I wanted what Alex said, and then the person before them asking about where they used to live. I'm not from here in Maine. And I used to really feel like, oh my gosh, how can I do this when I work with people that, have, born, bred, never left, never been in a place else. I'm a military family, came from that. I've been all over the place. And that was one of my biggest ahas probably in my first Ignite was, what am I doing not reaching out to all of the people where I was before? And then even more so realizing that there were so many Keller agents out there that in the places that I've lived, I've made it, a point to find those offices, get in touch with those agents and get to know them. Because maybe we don't want to just say, I've done it within Keller. I've been like, okay, let me find you somebody, reached out to just a name. And unfortunately that didn't work out. But then from learning from that, okay, know them. So making the connections with the agents in Colorado and Connecticut and Florida and New Jersey and getting to know them and staying in touch with them so that they and vice versa, they appreciate that. So now when I have people from where I used to be, I'll say, if they call me and ask me, can you help me with this? Absolutely, I can. I'm so glad that you called. I have, Tim Lindsay is fantastic in that area. I'm going to call him and let you know. Are you okay if I share your information with him? And then I connect them through an email or whatever. But reach out to the agents. If you're not local and that referral business it's amazing. I mean, I'm not personally doing as much as someone like Susan yet, but like the gentleman that just spoke and said he's getting back into it. I've been an agent for almost 5 years. And with Keller, I'm doing more, diving in more, like making this my time. But the entire time I'm building those referrals and not using that as a fear anymore. I'm using it to my advantage. But at the same time, always coming out where I do care. I want the people that I know and love to get the best service in finding their home.
Yep. Thank you for sharing. That's really great. And that is, the more we show people that we're a person and we're showing up, the more business that we're going to get. And what we tell ourselves is important, right? So I say things out loud to myself, and then sometimes I think I'm saying them to myself when I'm around other people and they come out of my mouth out loud. But people want to talk to me and I always come from abundance. I tell myself that. People want to talk to me and I come from abundance. Another one that I say is I help people make great decisions, and I'm going to get an appointment today. So when someone says, "What do you do, Susan?" I help people make great decisions. That's what I do. And I believe it. I don't understand why somebody wouldn't want to work with me. I tell myself that too. And when they choose to work with somebody else, I wish them the best. We never misspeak about anybody, whether you're on the phone or on social media or anybody else. We always wish them the best. Because if they went with somebody else, it's because we didn't do our job. But we do our job when we call, and this Ford script can help us a lot. Like recreation. It's perfect time, right? Do they go to the same vacation spot all the time? Are they going to branch out and try something new? Are they living at their second home as their first home now? So what's their vacation spot going to be? So you may not have spoken with someone in a while. That's a great opportunity to call them, reach out to them and say, hey, how's your life? Spring's coming. What's you and your family going to be doing for vacation this year? What are you guys doing for fun? Hey, it's been kind of a weird beginning to 2022. What are you guys going to do for fun? I know I'm looking forward to fun. Dreams. Dreams connect all of us, right? Is their dream having a second home? Is their dream getting on single floor living? Is their dream selling now and getting a smaller place so that they can have a condo in a warmer environment? What are you guys dreaming of? Everything's been so serious for the last couple of years. Tell me what's your dream vacation? Things like that. These are funneling questions for, trying to decide where's the next residential move going to happen. And notice that none of these are about real estate. When you're asking about their family, their occupation, their recreation, their dreams, they're funneling questions. Not one of those questions is about real estate yet. We're just leading them down the path to thinking about their future. And people need to know that you care about them. So we're not jumping immediately into real estate. Okay. So I hope that you guys are, and I mean this literally, write them down. Who are your 5 to 7 people? I'm going to ask at the end of the call for someone to please lift a piece of paper up with some names on it. Because I believe in you guys. I know that you guys can do this. And I want you to make money in 2022. And this whole course was built on going out to successful agents and asking what they do every day. This is what they do. So write some names down. There's got to be some people that are resonating and swishing around in your mind right now for who you can pick up the phone this afternoon and have one of these forward conversations with. All right, we're going to keep moving right along. So we have tools, right? If we're talking about connecting with our sphere and our sphere of influence, you might be talking to someone in your sphere, and as you're talking to them and communicating them, you know that they're an influencer. So you need to be putting them in your database in a way that's going to speed up the frequency of the number of times that you communicate with them and how you're going to go do that. Right? So what are our tools? We have command. I thought we skipped past this page, but you can start with your phone, right? You have your phone, so you have numbers in here to call. You have command, which we're going to jump over to. I'm not going to log into command, but we're going to talk about it because there are such good tools there for you. Excuse me. And we just have to start picking up the phone. Those are your 2 best tools right now. I would really encourage you to stay organized as you're making your calls so that when you do get these tidbits of information, we're not forgetting about them, that we're putting them in some place that we're going to remember to follow up with them. Right? And Tim, I'm going to toss this slide over to you because you always explain this one better than I do.
Oh boy. Well, so some of the language here has changed a little bit. So when we were initially building, and Robert can jump in because he's wicked smarter than I am. When we were initially building command, the understanding was on the far left, that first big bubble, the virtual customer. And Gary had a really funny acronym, as he always does, for all of this. But ultimately, they start as the consumer is starting voyeuristically. We know without fail, most of our consumers are starting online. If I'm a buyer, I'm looking for a house. If I'm a seller, I'm looking for a rock star in my neighborhood to sell my house. So the virtual consumer is coming in. And then it says virtual agent, but we're not talking about KW being like a video game. There's some brokerages out there that are celebrating that they're a video game. It's cool. That's not what that means. It means you can conduct your business from anywhere. And the virtual market center, meaning that all of the resources you need from the market center are a text or a phone call or a click away through command. All of those being connected. You've got Kelly, which Kelly was the app that you had in your hand for a while, but it's also the AI behind everything, right? Collecting data. Because what we know is everybody in this room, there's 60 of us in this room. This room is pretty smart. But then go to the region. What if 7,000 of us are in the room sharing ideas and information, right? Wicked smarter. And then you get to North America and you're talking about 170,000 of us now. So as we can start to gather all that intel, we knew it was going to grow our opportunity to serve our clients at a higher level. Above that, you see all of our outward relationships, Keller Mortgage, Keller Covered, Keller Offers, and Keller Management. Now, if you add family, you heard talking about Team Bridge, and that's where that plugs in. The most exciting thing Gary talked about, and this is where Robert can probably unmute and sharpen the sword here for us. The APIs at the bottom before were going to be very limited. They're going to be a lot more robust now. So you heard Gary talk about the fact that he understands now that command is not a one size fits all suit. This is going to offer the opportunity for a team that might have a great relationship with Top Producer or a great relationship with Brivity is going to be able to plug themselves in or plug that CRM into command. Because we knew without fail, you guys always had to get to command at one point to run your opportunity through to get paid. And they just want to make it more seamless now for you guys to do that. So if you have yet to log in at agent.kw.com, I'm going to ask you to do that at some point today. If you haven't logged into command yet, if you hadn't added a human yet, there's a great opportunity to do that. And I'll let you steal some of our greatness too. I'm sure Robert won't mind this. If you don't currently have a Market Center tech trainer, I promise you, there's one coming to your face. But if you don't currently have one and you're like, what is all this tech they speak of? You can go to, Robert has built a phenomenal YouTube page. It's kwtechtube.com. And all of his classes are there. He teaches on a regular basis for us. And I'm sure I left something out, Robert. I'm sure you want to share something that I left out or screwed up. Or well we don't have time to fix all my errors, but yeah, he's going to come in and clean this mess up. Go ahead.
I'll clean this up for you. Yeah. I just put down in the bottom you can actually get some time with me in addition to what Tim was talking about with kwtechtube.com. This is something we put together for our market center, but it reaches out to the region, and that is all of our live classes are live on YouTube, as well as they're obviously recorded on YouTube, and you can play them back later. But let's back up a little bit into what Tim is talking about. I have a question for the 60 some odd of you that are, well, 60 on the nose, that are in this room right now. If I was to call you and I was to say to you, I'm interested in talking to you about real estate, big, broad question, where would you write that down? How would you log that immediate transaction in your mind? What would you do? And I'm just going to open that floor right there. First person, just speak right up. Do you use a pen, paper? Do you use a spreadsheet? What do you do?
Notes app on my phone.
Notes app on your phone. Okay, there's one. There's 60 of you.
Notepad.
Notepad, like a physical notepad?
Exactly, with a pen and paper.
Okay, what else you got?
I've just started using command to add tasks under my contacts.
Add a task under your contacting command. Okay, what else?
I listen.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I listen to the person for a bit.
Sure.
Where it's going.
Absolutely. But when you're going to write down your thoughts and your comments to yourself to remind you of this later, what do you use?
Be the phone.
So making a note in the phone.
Yep. Siri, whatever, maybe, whatever. It depends on driving or whatever.
I love that.
I can do,
okay.
So I can do it safely.
I'm using something awesome called The Remarkable. Does anyone else have The Remarkable?
Tim has one sitting in front of him.
Oh my goodness. Every realtor needs one of those. It is the most amazing tool.
All right.
I sign all my CIDs with it. I take all my notes in it. And it's just a wonderful thing.
It's a fantastic tool. An alternative to that is also the Rocketbook, which does the same scanning, but not electronic. It does scanning. Okay, so what else you got? So we got Notes, Note app, Siri. We got Remarkable. What else? Okay, out of the 60 of you, 4 of you responded. I'm assuming that some of you probably used the same things, and that's why you didn't necessarily speak up right there, right now. But only 1 of you said that you're using command. Now, let's talk about why I would suggest that. Because in command, there is a notes app, and it is also something that you can have mobile. So when you take a note for a contact, that is either, if you haven't added them, you should add them to your database pretty much right away. You can make a note for that contact and always have it in your pocket associated with them right next to their phone number. Okay, right next to their email, the ability to get right back with them. I love the fact that you're using Siri, William, because Siri allows you to transcribe this information and put it into your notes app or wherever, and then you can copy and paste it back into command. Why command? Command is a central place for you to manage your relationship. It's called a CRM for a reason, customer or contact relationship management. For those of you who are using note paper, pads and stuff like that, that can get very, very far away from you very fast. You lose paper, you get it piled up, and you haven't seen my kitchen table with notes and papers on it. I don't keep anything important in there on my table, because if I need it, I need to be able to get into it. I use a lot of different techniques to manage the relationships with the people that I work with. And the only real way to do that is to keep the notes close to the contact information. And that's what Command is all about, is keeping it centralized. Now, whatever methods you use, you can still do similar things to the way we're doing them now, but add Command into the mix. I love the fact that, I'm not sure which one of you said using tasks in Command. I love that, because it can kind of trigger you to call them back. And it's something that will show up. Again, if you're using Command Mobile on your phone, it will show up and you'll be able to task manage getting back to people. And that is a critical part of what we're trying to do here, is to manage those relationships. So Command itself, which is on the screen here, on the left-hand side, there's a bunch of little tiny icons. The one that you're going to be using the most, quite frankly, and I have a class called Contacts, the Heart of Your Database. That's the second one down there with two little people. And that area of Command handles the relationship. It handles the transaction. It handles the marketing. It handles the nurturing. It handles everything about that person. And that's where 90% of your work is done, because you're managing those relationships. Trust me when I tell you this. If you take the time to just look at the program, for those of you who are not using it, I promise you that you will find that this tool can organize your relationships so that you are able to respond faster, respond more efficiently, respond with information that they need, and most importantly, have a transactional history of everything that you've discussed all in one location, with dates stamped in them, with emails that are attached to the relationship in Command, that you have your appointments and your calendar information attached in Command. All of this is something that will help you develop a better relationship. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm not the best at remembering things. And if I do write things down, I want to make sure that I can always find them. If I know the person's name, everything's attached to them here. I don't have to worry about scribbles on paper or anything like that. So for the
Robert, what did you just say? I didn't write it down.
When you're talking to your people, when you can reiterate something from a previous conversation, you're not going to know that you're reading from your Command. They're going to know, they're going to feel how much you care. So when you're asking them about a pet that had been sick, or a parent, or a vacation that was coming up, and when you call them when you know they're a week back from vacation, you say, hey, how was Disney? They're like, oh wow, look at that, Susan really cares.
And those are date stamped.
We need those. We need those little reminders, because I can't remember what I had for dinner last night some of the time. I need those reminders.
It's so true. We get into these little things that we do where we think we're organized, and we're kind of hoping that we are, but we're not. And if you could use this simple tool, which is, quite frankly, when you're inside of a contact, everything about that contact is right there, and it's all laid out for you. Tasks, opportunities, notes, saved searches for properties that they're interested in, neighborhoods that they are interested in looking at, emails that you've sent, calendar dates that you've booked. And it's all in one timeline, and it all shows everything straight in one timeline. If you have that ability, to Susan's point, it is so important to be able to say to somebody, hey, listen, the last time we talked on May 15th or around May, you were saying that you were headed out to Disney. How did that trip go? I mean, how many times have you had conversations with people and they've brought back previous conversations and you thought, wow, they were friggin' listening.
Yeah. And they do, Command does make it so easy, because we're all used to operating off of our phone, and we probably all have more apps on here than we even need. But these are the apps that we need. So Command is like your phone. How do we keep track of your people? I have an app for that. It's called Contacts.
Mm-hmm.
How do I make flyers for people? I have an app for that. It's called Designs.
Mm-hmm.
How do I manage my transactions? I have an app for that. It's called Opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all listed right here. How do I run ads on Facebook? There's an app for that. It's called Campaigns. So if we don't know what all our tools are right now in Command, this vertical line right here is where you start poking around. You can't break it. If you see a question mark on anything, click it. It will tell you what it is. So there's help on here. Figure out, I would definitely say when we're building our calendar, the first part of our day is lead generation. That's the most important. But then we put spots in our calendar to learn what our tools are that make our life easier, so we have more time to call more people.
Mm-hmm.
Has anybody read or at least seen pictures of this book, Millionaire Real Estate Agent? Right?
What's that?
You got
This
a
one?
copy. It's got a copy. It's on your shelf. The spine's not broken. You got a Wicked Smart bookshelf, which is fine.
I don't have a spine because if I had a spine,
Yes,
I would
we
end
have
up
the
breaking
spiral
it.
edition. Yes, phenomenal. If you go to Keller Inc., you can get the spiral edition. Anyway, in here, what does Gary say? There's 3 L's.
Mm-hmm.
What are the 3 L's in this book that Gary talks about?
Anyone?
Linguine, lasagna.
All about remember lead generation is all
Lead,
about
leverage, listing.
Leads. Yep. You almost got it. Leads, listings, leverage, right? In that order. The leads get us the listings. The listings will eventually build leverage for us. And leverage, for the most part, as you're going to find out in the organizational model in this very book, is you start to surround yourself with physical talent. And the challenge becomes when somebody else walks into the room where you've been functioning as a party of one. Just happened to me in the past year. Zoe and I works on the team with me. She walked in for the first 90 days and it'd be like 450. She'd be the fixer of my stupid is what I call her. And she'd be like, so how do you do this? And I would tell her my process. She'd be like, why do you do it that way? And then she'd go off and fix it and come back and we'd have a process, right? Because when it's just you and your cat and a cup of coffee, however you do it, being entrepreneurial is fine. But when you have a process and you're going to bring other people on board, having the notes written down. So now if I do have an executive assistant, he or she is sitting there and I'm calling them real quick. Hey, just talk to Robert Vincent. He bought a tractor. Michelle ran him over. It's a great story. We'll tell you later. And he has 2 dogs and one of them is going to the vet. And I'm calling him next week because they're looking in the investment property in Florida. And that gets cobbled in. But now I have the notes there. They're up to speed as well. And if they're making the next call, somebody on my team can look at the notes from my last conversation. Hey, Robert, Tim's away with his family, but I wanted to follow up. We were going to give you a call. It's Stacy from KW. And he said you wanted to start to have a conversation about what the investment property in Florida looks like. She still feels cared. He still feels cared for. He still feels heard because somebody's doing the follow-up and the follow-through with notes from their conversation. Not somebody tone deaf calling saying, hey, we haven't spoken to you in a while. Robert's like, we just talked to Tim last week, but they're clearly not connected. So his dysfunctional team is calling me to pull me into the dysfunction, or his team that's on the same page that has great notes, that's a well-oiled machine, is calling me back to care on me again. Which one do you want to be part of, right? That's why making sure all of your notes and thoughts and hopes and dreams are in one place. So as you start to build your team, there's a playbook.
And
wildly important.
Like garbage in, garbage out. So if you want to be able to get diamonds out of your database, then you got to put good stuff in there. You've got to feed, if you want good out of it, you got to put good in. So we need all of their contact information. You need their full name. You need their full address. You need their email. You need their phone number. You need to stalk them on Facebook and put their Facebook URL in there. You need to get their birthday. You need to find out about if there's a spouse or a family or whoever. Because when you start investigating all the other apps that are available to you in Command, when you already have the correct information in there, it will be more efficient and beneficial for you to be able to run campaigns with them, to be able to connect with them more appropriately, to have a transaction and open it up and create an opportunity and have all the information be able to flow right in there. So when you're on the phone with them, you're on purpose you're going to add them to your database. Do them a service by getting all of their full information so that you can provide better value to them in the future. People will not, if you have an objection, you think, oh, they're not going to want to give me their email. That's something that you're saying is an objection. They're not saying that. I'm getting their full information so that I can serve them better. So change the way that you look at things, and the things that you look at will change. I'm getting their full information so that I can serve them, because that's my goal, right? Because we're in the relationship business until someone has a real estate need. And we can be in better relationships when we have all that information.
You know, Command has a little thing attached to a contact called a health score. And the health score, a lot of people don't understand it. They see, oh, the health of my contact is 63%. It's like, what, they got a cold? They got COVID? What's going on? The health score in Command is directly related to your ability to communicate, react, engage, and take care of that customer's needs. The higher your health score, the more Command can do for you, and in turn, you can do for your customer. And the health score is based on several key points. The name being one. Obviously, you can't have a contact in your database without a name. You need a phone number. You need an email. If you have an address, a physical address, if you have attached neighborhoods to your contact. For those of you who use Command, I'll hear a lot of people talking about attaching neighborhoods to contacts, and they only seem to think that it's valuable if the contact is going to move to an area and you want to inform them of what properties are available in that area. And that's only literally 50% of what that can do, because attaching neighborhood nurtures to your contacts, you should always include the neighborhood that they live in, where they currently reside, because now you're empowering them with what's the market look like where they live, and what does the market look like where they're going to. So adding your neighborhood nurture information is part of the health. Adding in relationships, adding in secondary contact information, all that information contributes to your ability to communicate with them. If you needed to reach out to someone and you didn't have a phone number, all you had was an email, you can't reach them. So when you think about Command and you think about the health of your contact, and to Susan's point, the more information you have in there, the better your chances of being able to pick up a conversation and make something happen, because you have what you need to drive the communication and the conversation forward. I think that the most important part about the relationship of what we're talking about here is going all the way back to what Tim said a few minutes ago about the integrations and the ability for Command to adapt to become your central tool for your business. Gary Keller did originally say that he wanted Command to be the one-stop shop for everything. But the reality is we all tend to use what we are comfortable using. So they've made great leaps and bounds into making integrations work with Command. The list of integrations, the list of things that connect and work with Command is constantly growing. And there's no longer really an excuse to say, well, Command doesn't do what I want it to do, so I use product X. It's time to come back and revisit that. If you have left Command, or if you haven't used it at all and you do use something else, reach out to your Market Center technical trainer and say, hey, look, I use this. I'm kind of comfortable with it. How would that work in Command? Would I be able to integrate it there? And let's find out some answers to some of the questions about how much can I integrate what I currently do into Command, and how much Command can do that I don't need to have integrations for, and what will make my business grow in terms of technology and making it easier for me to do the things that I need to do to take care of my customers.
Hey, Laura. You're muted.
Season 3 of COVID, you're still muted. There's no judgment though. It's very exciting. Go ahead.
Sorry, guys. So I'm brand new. Joined the Keller Williams Metro office in Bedford.
Congratulations.
I'm on the Fine Homes Group team with Diane Davidson and Bill Weidacker. And I haven't used any CRM yet. I haven't done anything in Command because we just signed on with, the team just signed on with a company called Brivity.
Mhm.
I don't know if anybody's heard of it or used it or anything.
Never heard of it. Just kidding. No, it's pretty popular. It's all eyes, Brivity, all eyes.
I figured.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
So I guess my question is, should I upload my because my database is currently just on a CSV file. Should I go through the motions of getting that into Command and also use Brivity from the team perspective? Because I guess the thought process is that Brivity will be, excuse me, more beneficial for the team.
Yeah,
But
let me
just-
jump in real quick on behalf of Bill and Diane, and tell Diane I said hello. Tell Weidecker I didn't say hello.
Okay.
Yeah, excellent. So whatever your team is using, the reason we use Command as the royal we conversation is because everybody that can hear the sound of my voice is a Keller agent, I trust, unless we have any guests, welcome. And you guys all have access to Command. If your team has decided there's another product that they're going to lean into, then that's your conversation to have with your team by all means.
Okay.
Right. But now what you'll hear from Bill and Diane is because of what they're doing with the APIs with Command, Brivity's going to plug in nicer to Command and make, and the teams might still run them separately and then port stuff later into opportunities, but you've got to get it into opportunities to get paid. That was the point that I was making.
Okay.
So I'd have a follow-up conversation with Bill and Diane, find out exactly what they want you to do with your people, and probably move them into Brivity first.
Okay.
It's a phenomenal tool. Yeah, it's a phenomenal tool.
Great.
There's no,
thank you.
I guess the big thing here, and Robert can back me up on this, we just want you to use some CRM.
Sure.
Your phone is not a CRM. It's where your people are
Yeah,
currently not being
totally
spoken to the most.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
So there's an element of sometimes there's a little bit of confusion about how Command relates to my business in KW. And something really important to note is, in order to get paid, it has been established that we have to have one line of communication between you and your market center administrators to get you paid. We can't have things coming in from 40 different places to get you paid. So Command is that one place. At the end of the day, your transactions on whatever platform you're using, that you create those transactions and you handle those transactions. To get paid, you need to submit them through Command so that there's one funnel coming in the door. Otherwise, these guys would have a nightmare of a time to do this. So if that's the case, and excluding those situations like what you're talking about with your team, where Brivity is the tool for your management of your contacts and your opportunities, so to speak, you're still going to have to, at the end of the day, put it back into Command. But if you're using tools that are not required by a team or another agency, or not an agency, but another means, then explore Command, centralize, minimize, reduce the work, reduce the waste, and take a look at what it can do for you. That's not at all to say, especially with Laura here, when we deal with a lot of teams that deal with different products because that's the way they manage their relationships. But at the end of the day, we put them in Command. If you're not to that point where there are other requirements, take a look at Command. Take a look at Command with your Market Center technical trainer, and I'm sure that you're going to be like, oh, wow, it does this? What? You're kidding. Seriously? It'll make your life easier.
You may put it into a Command to do the transactional side. They may be doing that functionality for you. So that would be a great conversation to have with them.
Yeah.
But even regardless of what database you are using, the philosophy behind putting good information in, and still need, regardless whether it's Brivity or Command, you're going to need complete information. So what we want to do here, guys, is build good habits, and good habits is adding quality people to your database every single day. And in one place that makes sense for you and for your business. And when we're starting with our sphere, it's like we're starting with our phone and putting all of those contacts, we're revisiting them, we're connecting with them, we're having the forward script with them, and then we're putting them in our database. And the best part about that for you is that they're all sitting there in your phone, and you're starting from the beginning so that you can add quality in and quality out, and not have like duplicates and garbage and just people that you have a name and no phone number. Like if you're going to do it, put them in there, get good information so that you can then start communicating with them appropriately. Because there's three things that we can control when we're running our business and doing our lead generation. You know, who you follow up with what frequency are we following up with them, and with what intensity. Like, are we, how much information are we going to be giving them? But people need to be in a database in order for us to be able to do any of that. And your sphere already knows and likes you, and they're going to want to help you.
Well,
So that's
another thing too, Susan, you're talking about garbage in, garbage out. Just for clarity's sake, if you're doing your allied resources, I would stray away from putting Larry the plumber I love and Tony the plumber I don't really like, but I use them when I need to. That shouldn't be in the box that says first name, right? Clean it up. It should be Larry Owens, Tony Lindsay, right? And make sure that it's very clean, because as you start to use it for smart plans and campaigns, correct me if I'm wrong, Robert, and I usually am, when that gets fired out, they're going to see what you had in that box.
Yep.
That's the intel they're going to get when you are sending stuff out. So the side notes and the things that are off the cuff that only your team would see, our third greatest plumber shouldn't be in their name box. Not a great idea. Because I don't know if I'd want to get that on a mailer from you. Timmy, the realtor I hate, but I use when I'm in a pinch. Awesome. It's a long middle name, but we'll stick with it. Yeah.
And, we're always talking about goals. That was one of the things on the running our business side of our daily activities. And our goal should be building a strong, valuable database. And the number used to be 1920 to yield $1 million business. 1,920 good contacts that we're communicating with regularly and systematically to yield you $1 million business. Doesn't $1 million business sound phenomenal? Getting to the closing table regularly is fun, and you guys can do it. This is just how we get started, and none of this is hard. Okay, so that's why we want to pay attention to our database and be putting people in there. And here's your Ignite toolkit. There's a resources job aid. There's script books, because remember, we should be the daily loops, daily habits is scripting. For those of you that are in the Portsmouth office, my husband, John, and Mark Zoller kind of started around the same time together. Mark runs a hugely successful team. They got to where they are at by scripting. They used to script every day going into the office. At 7 o'clock in the morning, they'd be in the car. And the thing about having a script partner in scripting is that's not something that you erase out of your calendar. You've got to do it consistently. And they consistently, every Monday through Friday, would script. And it's not like getting on the phone saying, oh, hey, Tim, how was dinner last night? You call and you get right into it, like you're on a call. Have a plan for what you need practice scripting in, and then get at it. And you have a script book for that. And the more you practice the same scripts over and over again, the more you'll internalize them and they'll sound natural.
If you want to find somebody right now, share your information in the chat. Everybody here is in our region. Everybody's on the Eastern Seaboard. You all wake up at the same time. I would recommend you do it in the morning. I'll do it after dinner. No, you won't. Spoiler alert. No, you won't. Do it in the morning. It's like hitting a bucket of balls before you go play golf. And to steal a golf analogy, right? I typically, most realtors only golf when there's like a realtor event. I'm playing more now, and I'm still awful because I don't practice in between my weekend rounds with my friends, right? Scotty Scheffler yesterday at the tournament at the Arnold Palmer thing, he was going into the clubhouse, the leader, but some people behind him still had to finish. And when you see the leaders on these golf tournaments over the weekend waiting to see if there's going to be a playoff hole, what are they doing? They're back on the range, hitting more balls, staying loose, staying consistent, right? So if you haven't formed a relationship with a scripting partner, Susan speaks the truth. And it's like, look at everything you're going to do that's remarkable and amazing in this industry is hiding in the mundane. Like this, there's no show on HGTV about somebody making their calls because no one would want to watch it. It's horrifically boring and painstaking, and it's not fun. It will be fun when you get good at it and you hit your groove and you start to set appointments.
That's what Adam always says at our market center.
1,000%.
Yep.
1,000%.
And, there's also a buyer lead sheet. And, I'm not going to open up each of these and go through them because that would be, a long time. A plan your day checklist. Like, we have to have a plan. There's a previewing homes job aid, a pre-listing questionnaire, a pre-listing packet. There's a Facebook Ignite page that will get you resources that the recordings of these sessions will be on, so that you can go back and listen to them. There's a daily 10-4 checklist, which we're going to talk about. Okay. Because we need to prepare for success. It doesn't happen on accident. And if we think that we're just going to put a Facebook page out there that says, hey, I got my real estate license and all this business is going to start flowing and my phone's going to start ringing, I have to tell you, it doesn't work like that. We have to be out there on purpose, doing our jobs and lead generating in order to succeed. Okay. So we have some more Spark learning modules coming up. We did Fuel Your Career today. So tomorrow, the whole day is going to be about lead generation. Okay. Lead generation is the core of your business. This is your job. We own small businesses as real estate agents, so we have to treat it as such. Powerful language gets results. What we say matters. The words we use and how we use them matter. So we need to be using powerful language when we're speaking with people. And that is kind of the purpose too of scripting. It will help you get those words and phrases in your vocabulary. And it's going to become like muscle memory. Like the words, why is that important to you? When we wanted to talk about motivation, because we need to know people's motivation in order to be able to help them, in order to keep them on track and bring them to where we need to have them to move forward, then we need to be able to ask them, why is that important to you? It will help give us information so that we can help them.
Also, it's going to help us decide if we want to work with them or not, which
Yeah.
I know in this day and age sounds insane. If you're a veteran agent, raise your hand if you sat at a kitchen table in the last few years, and when you sat at the kitchen table, you heard them say, we just want to see if we can get our price.
Yep.
It's never our price. It's never their price. It's what the market will command in this day and age, right? Like, end of story. So as soon as you find out they're just seeing if they can get their price, you're already on a fool's errand. Ask more questions, really see if you can uncover their motivation that they truly need to move. And they're not just playing the lottery. And obviously last summer, there were people that just had no intention of selling, but they sold to grab the equity and to move, and they put a bunch of money in the bag. But people need to be serious about moving right now, right? And uncovering that they really do want to move. Motivation's huge, 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 huge.
It is huge, and it's really going to, help you, even when you're putting people on that, the wave to know what their next opportunity is for transacting. When we know their motivation, it will help us get them there faster, and it will help us know when to be there and with what frequency, So understanding scripts, you're not going to want to miss that one. By the end of that module, you'll know the benefits of using powerful scripts and have a chance to practice them. And scripts don't have to be lengthy. Sometimes it's just, it really is about the muscle memory of knowing when to let those little bombs drop of powerful nuggets to help you get contact and information from your folks. And, we just talked about command and database. So there's a session on setting up your database and feeding it, because your database is your business. And we want to focus on making you guys millionaire real estate agents and having resources to bring back to your families. Setting goals that matter. It's all about a meaningful goal. And there's tools in there like a 411 and the 80-20 principle to help you achieve your goals. So there will be a whole session on setting goals that matter. And, when people, you're going to need that little elevator pitch. When people say, oh, you're in real estate, you don't have a very long time to always capture and be able to convey your confidence and ability in your career as a real estate agent. So you're going to have a session on delivering your value proposition. where you can learn and build how you can verbalize and define your value to your contacts and your clients, and developing a script for that so that you can deliver eloquently your value proposition. And not just deliver it, but like believe it. Because it's really important to be able to speak with confidence. If people don't have confidence in you because you're stuttering over your words, they're not going to transact with you. They want to be led. People want to be led. They want us to guide them through this process. They don't want to be guiding us through it. They want us to lead them.
Susan, I just dropped the toolkit for the entire thing. So the entire Ignite toolkit is in the chat.
Awesome.
If you're on your phone, you probably don't have access to files in the chat, so we apologize. All of this is at KW Connect. So if you go to KW Connect, go to KWU, and then all the classes are broken out in panels. The top right-hand tile is Ignite 2.0. It's in materials.
Okay. Thank you for doing that.
You got that.
There's going to be find and win the buyer. And it will teach you how to find the buyers and then take the buyer from just being a buyer to shopping and then to a contract so they can get to the closing table, which is really challenging right now, but we can do it. Buyers are getting under contract right now. We need to hone our skills more today than ever when we're working with our buyers so that we can be using our time efficiently. Okay. Working with sellers. It's all about the listing. If you can master getting listings, the buyers will always come. Right? And a day in the life of a real estate agent, we're talking about a lot of work here. We have to lead generate. We have to find sellers. We have to find buyers. We have to get agency contracts signed. We have to view property. We have to know compliance. I mean, when you look at that list of growing your business and running your business, man, that is a full-time job. So we have to manage our day, and a day in the life of the real estate agent is going to be a module that I think will benefit a lot of you in terms of your time management and making sure that we're fitting everything in. You know, and this here, this Spark modules, this is our job. But our job is to be more human, more often with more people, and we will get more business. Because the more that we're training, everything that we have is inside us. We just need to be pulling it out. So we need to be putting good things inside of our head and our hearts and be leading with our heart. Because people will be moving. It's our job to show them how we care about them and to be top of mind when they are ready to move. The hardest part is to be accountable to do all of this. Because when we're in Ignite, it might be like, yeah, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that. But we need to find some accountability to make sure that we're actually going to be getting all of this stuff done. So those are the Spark modules. After that, we're going to jump over to the Elementals learning modules, where we're going to be talking about prospecting and marketing. Okay, open houses. How do we get more leads out of open houses? That's a lead generation tool. We're going to dig into seller appointments and buyer consultations. Because when we're at the point where we're sitting down at the table and talking to them, we need to be closing because we are salespeople and this is a sales job. So we always need to be closing. We're closing for the appointment. When we have the appointment, we are closing to get an agency agreement signed. That builds loyalty. So when your buyers are out in the marketplace, they need an agency agreement signed with you. They need to be loyal to you so that they're not going to the listing agency when their listing agent, when the home of their dreams pops on the market. So the power behind a buyer consultation is to build loyalty so that they stay with you and you show them that value. And our seller appointments, when we're sitting down with a seller and we know they're ready to list, we need to get that agency agreement signed, because if I'm coming in after you, that's what I'm going to be working on doing. So you need to kick me out. You have to have a powerful seller appointment, because there will be somebody else that's going to knock on their door. So getting that paper signed has power behind it. Okay. Making and receiving offers, so fun. And there is very much an art and skill to that, to making a powerful offer and receiving offers and being able to get regurgitate that information back to your seller.
Regurgitate, such a romantic term. Love that. Awesome on a Monday. Yeah. I literally just got off the phone and you're like talking about puking. I'm like, all right, sure. Yeah.
And negotiate the deal, right? We're going to receive offers, and who are we going to negotiate with? What are what's the art to negotiating the deal? Because it's not always about price. Why is that important to you? Is motivation. It's not always price.
Another book for you guys too. Christopher Voss, Never Split the Difference. He's a former FBI negotiator. Christopher Voss, Never Split the Difference.
And then, of course, we talked about financial basics. I mean, man, growing your business, running your business, that's a lot of work. We're going to make money. None of that has had taxes taken out yet. Don't wait until the end when you've spent it all to realize that you had to pay taxes on that. Yep, been there, done that. It's not fun. You think, oh, I'm just going to spend this whole commission check because I'm going to let the next one cover.
Honey, why are the cops here? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then your car breaks down, or you want to go on vacation, or it's somebody's birthday, or it's this, or it's that. Go to financial basics so that you learn how to manage your money as a business owner.
There's goal setting tools within Command. There's also a tool that most of your coaches at your market centers will probably use with you as well, called the CGI. It's the Career Growth Initiative, and it's the way we build out your financial plan for the year. And in there, we ask you, and again, obviously, some of you have partners and spouses at home, and you might know what your tax rate is. If you're guesstimating, we'll tell you it should land probably somewhere to be safe between 30 and 40%. If you know your number because you're in an intimate relationship with your CPA, congratulations. If you don't know, I'd rather have you guess on the high side so there's meat on the bone at the end of the year. Knowing that, walking out of the market center with your net check, net means you and Washington, not just you, right? So your net check going home is after you paid company dollar, after you paid your Gary dollar to international royalty. You still have to do your taxes. So if you told me and you told the authorities you were going to put 33% aside, put 33% aside.
Mm-hmm.
Get used to that, right? Start to build a business in which you pay yourself. We've got some great agents at our market center that put themselves on salary. They don't get paid when they get paid. They create enough business to pay themselves a certain number every year, right?
So don't skip the financial basics. It's really a great one. And then one of my favorites is contracts to close. So don't skip that, because there's so much lead generation opportunity for future business and referral business in nailing contract to close. And then I don't think that we do a market center specific module anymore. I believe contracts to close wraps us out.
What we have done in the past, and maybe we will, but spoiler alert, I don't know yet. They leave an open session in for, if you're teaching this at the market center level, to teach something market center centric. So maybe we can coax him and his beautiful quaff back. Robert, he had to leave. He had a regional thing to do. We can get him back in to do a little more tech with you guys, something like that. So as we get through the sessions, if you guys feel there's something that is missing, reach out to Jen Bovey, our area director, or myself, and be like, hey, we would love to put a bow on this at the very end with some sort of a session. We'd be happy to put something together for you. Even if it's not 3 hours, it's just an hour to dot I's and cross T's. We want you guys to leave here with a relative understanding of everything that we've been through. And there's a lot of conversation going on for the next 18 sessions. So to the point, Gary's point, we haven't said it yet today, Susan, Gary's point with this class, you should be in Ignite if you've done 16 or fewer transactions in the last 12 months, which I would argue that's true for a lot of people in real estate nationwide, right? And then when you get to the point where you're crushing 16 or more transactions, at that point, we'd love for you to be on the other side of the table and be teaching like Susan is. Gary wants us always in Ignite. And not to take up your time, but dip your toe back in the water once a year. We've got repeat offenders who are doing amazing amounts of business, but they come back to hear the story differently, right? When the teacher is ready, the student appears, or the student is ready, the teacher appears. It's been a long morning, but you know what I mean. be cognizant of the fact there's always more to learn. Be educationally based.
Yep, absolutely. And how we get there, we have the daily 10-4. And this is what we should be doing, guys. We should have, add 10 new contacts to your database. And the habit there is that we need to grow and manage our database. We need to be mindful every day that that is how we build our business. So daily, we should be adding 10 new contacts to your database. These are your goals for Ignite. We're going to be talking about this every day now until the end. Okay. We need to prospect. That's speaking with 10 people in your database. And that means a two-way conversation about real estate. So if 4 o'clock rolls around and you don't have 10, then you're not done yet. Keep going. If noontime comes around and you've got 10, you're not done yet. Because the person who lead generates the most gets there faster. Keep going. If there's time left in your day to lead generate, then do that, because our goal is to set an appointment in these first 2 weeks of Spark. Okay? And we need to follow up with writing 10 notes to people you've recently contacted. I keep my notes with my little note envelopes right on my desk at work, so I can pick them up and handwrite something to them and get them in the mail. People love a handwritten note. There's a lot of power behind it because they feel cared about. And then, know your market, preview 10 homes per week. And we've talked a lot about that. That can be by going on showings with your buyers. It could be going to open houses. If you're going to open houses, remember that open house is a lead generating activity for whoever is hosting it, and do not talk to the other buyers there. Please don't do that. Because if you do that at one of mine and I get a phone call about it, I'm going to be calling you.
Could you say that again? I'm sorry.
If you are attending an open house because you want to preview homes, and that's a great way to preview homes. You don't have to go with a buyer. Just go preview the homes in your market at an open house. But if you do that, don't talk to the other buyers there. That's a lead generating activity for whoever the hosting agent is.
They're fishing somebody else's pond, right? So best practice is I'm going to walk in. I'm going to introduce. Is your name Joelle?
Yes. I was at an open house yesterday for my team leaders, and I got a couple of leads. So I'm working them while I'm talking to you also.
Perfect. Yeah, but that was a listing that your team controls.
Right.
So Susan's point is, I'm not going to walk into a Kenyon production and start hobnobbing with all the people in there, because those are people attracted to her property. And we guard your listing, your lead here with our life at Keller Williams, right? So best practice is, especially if I just landed, I'm going to walk in and be like, hey, Susan, Tim Lindsay with Keller Williams in Portsmouth. Just wanted to get out, learn the inventory, introduce myself, because now the next time I see her, it's good to see you, Tim. Not like, oh, hey, are you new? Right. And then above and beyond that, I'm going to just make sure she understands I'm here for the purpose to understand this house for my buyers, introduce myself to her, go through the property, and then I'm leaving. Because you will see people out in the driveway fishing off somebody else's pier. And we don't do that.
No.
We don't do that.
No, absolutely not. And I haven't even gotten into it much on this session. So, but I'm sure other agents will as they're teaching.
Mhm.
Your co-broke relationships in this business is super important. So when we're going into open houses, we need to be mindful of that too, because we're going to be running into these agents, and we need to be very professional with them and monitor and manage our co-broke relationships. Your reputation is important. Okay. If you are having an issue finding the 10 handwritten notes, sometimes it could be because you've been on social media and you're learning of somebody having a new baby or somebody in their family passing or whatever. Those are opportunities for you to reach out with care and a handwritten note as well. Okay. When we're asking questions of people, let's go deeper. Let's go 5 questions deep strategy with, oh, you're looking to move. Why is that important to you? Or how does that make you feel? Or if this happened, what would your life look like? How would your life look if this happened? How would your life look if we got you to Florida by June?
Real quick on the handwritten note too, Susan. We say this all the time. And I didn't realize they changed their logo. Is it the Christmas tree shop? There's a whole new logo. They're super cool now. Anyway, go to the Christmas tree shop, get 8 million note cards for 38 cents. Because if you're going to wait until your branded cards come in, but you're still working on your logo, they'll be ready around 2035. You're never going to write a handwritten note. I don't care if it has a chicken, a duck, or a ham sandwich on the front of it. Just go buy some note cards at low cost, because they're going to flip that open real quick anyway and just see that it's from you.
Yeah.
The power, to Susan's point, of a handwritten note that looks like an invitation to something. They're going to open that. It's not going to find the circular file in their kitchen. But don't overthink it. Go to Christmas tree shop, get a bunch of unbranded. Now, if you're super cool and your team has branded stationery, rock on. But if you're waiting for that or waiting to create enough money to take on that expense, said with love, you're doing it wrong. Just go to Christmas tree shop, buy a bunch, and start to do them. And I know there's a cost attached to stamping them and sending them out. If you want to do something as a campaign or a smart plan through command, you can do that too. But we're going to tell you the power in the handwritten note is important.
Yeah,
it's important. It's going to turn out to be about $5 a day for you. Yes, you're going to get the money back. Our average GCI at our market center is $10,250. Write the note.
Yep. Write the note. And we're previewing homes so that we can be the expert or the market expert. We're also like trying to, maneuver, how do we operate lock boxes? If we've never had to do that, learn about houses. Learn about houses like, what if I had an FHA buyer or a VA buyer, or, what am I going to be looking at as I'm going through the house? What can I go through that house and look at the house and know what kind of heating system it is, whether, what kind of maintenance issues there might be. We're learning our craft so that we're not practicing on our clients and our customers. Okay. And remember, the number is 10, and that number holds true. So if talking to 10 people a day is scary to you and it sounds hard, think about it this way. How big will your business be if you do? How small will your business be if you do not? And how big do you want your business to be? The number's 10. It's not 4. It's not 6. The number is 10. So you really need to have that number ingrained in your goals. So do the hardest things first. Do the most important things first. And that's why we lead generate at the beginning of the day.
If Friday was 0 and today is 6, you're on your way, right?
Yeah.
So we know, because you have to understand, and we know this without fail, it's going to take how many dials to get to 10 conversations.
Yep.
So getting it, but that's, and again, going back and storyboarding. Hey, my intention is to have these 10 conversations today. And when you get to bold, they talk about 20 in a shift, which we're always preparing for the next market. Gary would say double down. In Ignite, do 20 and bold, do 40. But again, if Friday was 0, let's work on our 10 for today. And that usually what I would do when I was in production, I would sit the night before and I would storyboard. I'm going to call Susan. And if I get John, I'm going to talk to John about building. If I talk to Susan, I'm going to talk to her about being 53, but looking 29. Like what, right? If I talk to Nathan Dickey, it's going to be about craft beer and cars and being short and Irish, right? Like whatever I can talk to them about that's off subject and it's not business driven. And maybe I go and look at their Facebook and I see that their kid had a birthday party or whatever, but I'm going to storyboard my conversations so I can make it all about them.
Yep.
That's the end game, because we know the math. If you guys spend this month, and we're already 7 days in, spend this month loading up 10 a day, you get to the end of the month, you've got 300 people in your database. The magic number is get to 600 in your database and run that 36 Connect, one of the smart plans we have in command. We know over the course of 12 months, if you're doing all the activities in the 36 touch, it works out to 50 transactions. 50 transactions. That if you're doing all the activities over 12 months with 600 people in your database, it's 50 transactions. That's a lot of money. It's a good weekend.
And we want that for you guys. We know you can do it. So make the most out of Spark by making your calls and making them in the morning. If by noon you only have 7, keep going. And remember, a contact is a two-way conversation about real estate. If you're Facebook messaging back and forth with someone about real estate, that's a contact, that's okay. But remember, if don't make up a contact because it really only harms you. We're telling you the number's 10, but it has to be an authentic 10 to you. Okay. And we have the Ford script. They don't know that we're calling them about, real estate. We're calling them about having a real life conversation with them because we're just talking about life. Okay. Lead generate at the ball field. That's coming around. If you have kids, sports is opening back up. Go to the field. Let people know. Wear your name badge. Do whatever it takes to get that conversation started. Okay. So does anybody have an aha or something that has resonated with them today that they would like to share? No. Mine is always dealing with business never takes place of finding business. Okay.
Susan, I have a question.
Sure.
What do you say to people who don't want to lead gen in the morning because people are at work? Like, how about later afternoon, early evening, weekends?
If you can do that and you do the numbers, then do that. One of the reasons that we do the lead generation in the morning is because as you get busy, your day will get away from you. You don't think it will, but it does. And we have a tendency to put off doing the things that we don't want to do the most. So I would say if you're just getting started, we do what successful agents have already proven to be successful. And successful agents lead generation the first part of their day. So I'm going to challenge you to give it a try. Go for it. What do you have to lose?
If you guys read Gary's book, The One Thing, he talks about willpower is not on will call, right? We all have the luxury of plugging our phone in the car. You got a stand or something on your desk. You can plug your phone and you can always be recharging it. Our battery's draining from the moment we get out of bed, right? I shouldn't say draining, but we're using our energy and it's not replaceable unless you're grabbing a cat nap. If you are, Godspeed. I want to know your process. Yeah. So if that's not happening for you, right? We know most business people are setting appointments in the morning on appointments in the afternoon. We also know national numbers. Most of our success, to your point, and I don't know who spoke up. I saw it, but I forget already. I apologize. 8 to 10 in the morning, 4 to 6 in the afternoon is when we're getting through to people. And the reason the power of the call in the morning is so important is because life hasn't kicked them in the face yet. They've still got wind in their sails. You're grabbing them before they get into the office. Then on the way out between 4 and 6, especially I always make fun of Liberty Mutual because it's fun. Like I'm picturing the person at like 4:30 at Liberty Mutual. They stand up in their cube. They grab their phone like, I got to take it to my mom. I got to go. And they're walking out to their car a little early. They're so happy to have a conversation that lets them exit the building. And especially if you know them, right? That's the other thing. If you're calling your friends between 8 and 10 and 4 and 6, maybe it's like, hey, do you have the day off? I'm going golfing. Hey, are you leaving the office early? I'm going drinking. It's something they're going to probably pick the phone up for. But if it's an unmet and all they see is 603-834-2856, the probability of them grabbing the call becomes less and less and less. So it's really an energy thing. Read the book, The One Thing. Gary talks about it with the Israeli judicial system too. And the power of energy and your headspace is remarkably overwhelming.
Ashley, how are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. I just had an aha moment. So I guess I'm a fairly new agent. I started in August 2021. I guess a couple months in. And I created social media, and I was kind of like that agent where I'm still that agent where like I have a social media, but I'm not reaching out to people. And something that one of you guys said was like trying to keep the conversation more about them and less about me, so that it seems more authentic and genuine. But I guess a question I would have is like, since I have my social media, I created it, a couple months ago. I have friends and family on there. They know that I'm in real estate. I guess, how do I start that conversation where like I could have started this a couple months ago, but like that it's still authentic, and they know that I care about them, even though I started this a couple months ago.
Yeah, the Ford script will serve you well every single time, Ashley. You know, we're calling about life and how are they? How's life going? How's your family? What's that looking like for you? If they are your family and friends, you probably know something about them already. And when ask them about their job, because they're going to ask you about it back. And that's your segue into talking about real estate. Do they own a home? A lot of people that I'm talking to, you could say, hey, Ashley, a lot of people that I'm talking to now, they don't really know what their real estate plans are, but they're really curious about an equity analysis on their home. I'm free on Tuesday night and Thursday night. What works better for you? Get out in front of them and start talking to them about real estate. The more you do that, the more it will start to flow.
Ashley, if I'm one of your people, I mean, let's just call me an end user with your social media. What has my experience been since you started with all your social media? What am I getting from you through your social media that's going to endear me to you and keep you top of mind for me? And my follow-up question is, how many deals, how many contracts have you signed through your social media endeavors?
Okay.
It's a number. Give me a number. Don't tell a story. I love you. Give me a number. And if the number is 0, that's a number.
It's actually one person reached out to look for an apartment.
Okay. And are you working with them? Is that going to be closed business for you?
Yeah, I'm working with them currently,
Okay.
but they're many listings at the moment.
So again, just ask a simple question on your social media today. And we use this all the time. And I would, to keep it safe, because people are going to feel like right now, I would ask, does anybody plan on moving in 2023? Simple question. Just put it on your social media. See what they say. See what the responses are. Another great question you can ask on social media that's going to get people to interact with you. And this is where on our social media presence, we have to be present. So when I ask the question today on social media, and hopefully one of you does this, just ask a simple question. Are you currently living in your dream home? What are 99% of your people going to say? Hell no, right? You know, it's not perfect. It's not their dream home. Probably not. Maybe somebody is. And as people start to interact with you, if you have their cell phone number, that's when I would call and be like, hey, Timmy, it's Ashley. I noticed your comment that you guys said that your dream home would have X, Y, and Z. When does that search start? How can I help? What are your thoughts around that? Right. Our social media, social media, along with a lot of other marketing, is passive. Even if there's a call to action with it, you're not in conversation with them. And we haven't shared this math all day, but we'll throw it in now. And I promise you I'll stop talking. The power of our language, as Susan's talked about all day, and the math is a little loose and flowing, but here we go. 7% of our effectiveness is the words we choose. 43% of our effectiveness is the tonality in which we use those words. You can hear my passion. You can hear my excitement around the conversation. And the other 50% is our body language. So as much as we were pulled out of the interactivity of being face-to-face with each other, Zoom has been a powerful tool for our industry. But at the very least, you can't read my text and you can't hear my voice. I joke with guys and girls all the time. If you're young and you're dating right now, there's a difference between hey, capital H-E-Y, and hey with a whole bunch of Y's. If she says, hey, I just cut her off. If she's like, hey, she wants me to come over. Right. There's just a difference that gets lost in translation if she can't hear me talking.
Yep.
So please I know Ashley, you sound younger. I know 2 things about my life. Everybody is taller and younger than me. You sound younger and you sound like you're about to fall on the Nerf sword. That is, nobody in my generation talks on the phone, Timmy. Be the one that does. Be the one that does. Get real good at the art of the conversation. You're going to print money, kid.
Yeah. Okay.
You're not going to do it with Tinder and Instagram. I don't assume you have a Tinder account that you're doing business with. Maybe you are. I don't know. Any port in a storm, but just get real good at the art of the conversation. That's where you're going to win all day.
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. And success leaves clues. So we need to be doing the 10 contacts a day, 10 conversations a day, 10 handwritten notes, and 10 homes previewed every week. This is what top agents are still doing. We're still talking to people every day. We're still adding people to our database every day. We must lead generate every single day. And that will get you to being a more successful agent that actually sits at the closing tables. Okay. We're not going to do scripts today. There is going to be a whole session on scripts and
we've actually done a ton of scripts today. So give yourself some credit. We've done quite a bit.
So make your success list. I still, I use a to-do list so that I don't forget things. I start writing them down the night before. If I have to carry things over from one day to another, then that's okay. But there's no time to waste in this industry. So getting organized is important, and it will help with your connection to the community and to your contacts and your consumers. The one thing I didn't talk about was there is, and I don't have my slide for it, when you are calling, if somebody is on the do not call list and you call them, your script is, I'm sorry, I will take you off my list.
Mhm.
I hope you have a great day. Boom, 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 and you're done. They'll talk more about the do not call list tomorrow towards the end of the Ignite session there. I think that's where the slide is.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, TCPA, you'll hear us talk about it quite a bit. It is $44,000 per violation. Here's the good news. If you call the people in your phone, I don't think Aunt Stacy is going to call the consumer board and report you, right? And if you call your mother and she's like, I'm on the do not call list, you need to work on your relationship with your mother. But there's a leather couch and somebody else involved in that conversation. So in the grand scheme of things, you're overthinking it. I promise you that. If you see the survey, if you guys go to that link or scan that on your phone, her name is Susan Kenyon, and she's awesome. If you've loved the class, her name is Susan Kenyon. If you hated the class, his name is Robert Vincent. I wasn't here. I'm just kidding. I put my contact information as well. tlindsay@kw.com, 603-834-2856, meetwithcoach.com. Happy to sit and help you guys through these conversations. I guarantee you guys are overthinking and you think you know how they feel and how they think and why they're not going to use you. And I pray that you understand that's not the case. Just show up with a servant's heart. The business is going to show up. Our job as coaches is to help you put real estate in the background. Show up as a member of the community, show up as the mayor of your town, show up as a servant, and the business is going to show up. And that takes a long time to build this. But if you're here for the long haul, we have every tool on planet Earth to get you there.
Yep. The person that makes the most of their day gets the most out of their life. And I want success for all of you. And I know that you can do it. So thank you so much for joining today. I hope you'll come back tomorrow because I know it'll be powerful lead generation conversation. And I'm happy to stay. I've tried to keep us right till 12. We're a little bit over. I'll stay on if anyone has any questions, but thank you guys so much for participating today. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Susan. Questions, comments, concerns, anybody?
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Susan. Have a great day, everybody.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Have an awesome day.
Good. Go make
Thank
an
you.
appointment. I know you can do it.
Hi. What is Market Center number? I'm sorry, I'm Juliet.
So every market center has a number. So Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Oh, okay. I can find it. I found it yesterday. How are you?
Good. How are you?
That was awesome. I'm a fairly new agent, January. I started January.
Welcome.
But I've learned that even if you don't understand the information, which it's pretty good, I understand it, you have the information at the beginning and it will be awesome for you because you have the information. If you do not have any information, you have nothing to work with basically.
Right.
You were saying out of 7,000 agents, only 64 is on the Zoom call.
Yeah. So if we take the 7,000, we know that 20% of the agents on the planet are going to do 80% of the business. So for our region, that's 1,400 agents. Of the 1,400 agents that make up the 20% that will do most of the business in New England for Keller Williams, 4% of you are in the room today. Now, truth be told, we've got a lot of agents who have done Ignite over and over and over again. They're off building their businesses. They're in lead generation. We dropped this class in the morning on purpose because you should be available for this class because we should be pulling you away from your lead generation. And if you're brand new, we're getting in your head, this is the time that you should be in lead generation. And having these
Exactly.
conversations, right?
We're not spoiled yet, so we can break into, the teaching, what you're
Yep.
teaching us.
The other thing to remember too, Juliet, is without fail, if you're always going to remember, you're going to be the source of the source. So when somebody has a question and you don't have the answer, get used to not having the answer. You heard us say a lot today, park your ego, right?
Yes.
We're going to connect our people to our people and solve the problem together. So when we get the limiting belief, I'm not ready to make calls yet because I don't have all the answers. We're never going to have all the answers, but you've got a massive team of 7,000 behind you to help you, right?
Awesome. Yeah. I'm working hard in understanding that. Well, I came to Keller Williams with a problem that I need solved. I have a business, and I've never printed a card, and I've never reached out to someone about being a prospective customer, and I have over 200 customers. So then what keeps happening is they believe in me and they trust me. So they keep coming to me and ask me to recommend them to someone who can help them purchase a home. So at the end of the day, I'm like, no, I'm not recommending them. I should be the person they should be coming to. So I got into real estate, and, I just need to start doing my 10. I can simply get on my phone and find 10 people,
Just find 10. Don't overcomplicate it.
No, yeah. I need to have the conversations because I am watching my clients close on a house over there, and I'm not having the conversation. No, I need to have the conversations.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
You're more than welcome.
Have a great day.
You too.
Okay, bye.
Anybody
Hey guys,
else?
I have one more question.
Sure.
Is there a searchable database on the do not call list?
You're going to go to donotcall.gov, and we've found best practice at our market center is to create your own account. If you start to go into multiple zip codes, it's going to come to a cost, but initially you can get in for zero cost. What we had done at one point at 463 is we had created a market center account. Here's the problem. If there's more than one Indian in the TP, it goes horribly wrong. So we have 750 agents at our market center. So as soon as more than one person was in there, it would start kicking people out and change the password. So we found it's best practice at our market center for each individual agent to grab their own account, set up your own user account.
Okay, and then do you just get this book of a million numbers you can't call, or can you search
No, it's a database online, and I would cross-reference it. The way we treat those kind of calls here is if I get the hit list from Naren for us in New Hampshire, I'm going to go back in and make sure it hasn't been relisted, and then obviously double check against that to make sure that it's not on the do not call list. And to Susan's point, as soon as they say they're on the do not call list, even if you're staring at information that says otherwise, not the time to get in a verbal arm wrestling match. Apologize, tell them you'll update your notes and move on, because it's 44 grand if they decide to fine you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I've talked to different agents and I ask about this, and they're like, oh, well, just beg for forgiveness. I'm like, again, back in 1836.
Yes, ma'am.
Even then, it was like they had to say specifically those words, take me off your list.
Yeah.
They just hung up on you, you put them on redup, but that's a big deal. If they say take me off a list, you better do it.
Yep.
So it scares me. So what is the hit list from Naren?
Well, I call it it's the hot list. So Naren in New Hampshire has you can get a hot list that comes out every night overnight, like 1:30 in the morning, Susan. And ultimately what it's going to show is anything withdrawn, anything that is expired, and anything that's new. So you're going to be able to see everything that was expired overnight. But then we can go back in and make sure it actually is expired.
Yeah, the hot sheet. I thought you meant they send out a thing saying.
No, I meant hot sheet. Sorry.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
All right, thanks so much, guys.
You got it. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Everybody else all set?
Anybody else? Everybody good? Bueller. We good? I think we're good.
Have a wonderful day.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.
Thank you, Susan. Bye.